Welcome back to the Fast Life podcast, which is brought to you by Simpson Motorcycle Helmets. For the last 5 years, I've trusted the Simpson brand to keep my head safe out on the open road. Find out more about these badass helmets at simpsonmotorcyclehelmets.com and give them a follow at Simpson Motorcycle Helmets on the gram. Today's episode, we have Vic Mod Glide. He goes by Mod Glide 07 on the gram, and this dude is one of the original, in my opinions, one of the original guys that influenced me to get onto a performance bagger back in 2017. Big fan of his and glad to finally have him on this podcast to talk about why he chose the performance bagger platform or style to kind of build his bike in way back when. So without further ado, let's get into these ads, and then we're going to jump right into this episode with Vic. House of Harley Davidson, located in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, has your HD covered with the performance upgrades we all want, along with service, sales, and a stacked parts department. Head on over to houseofharley.com where you can order the parts you need for your bike, along with all the best gear and clothing available. Drop the Fast Life offer code to save yourself 13% on your online purchases, and give these guys a follow at House of Harley on Instagram. Lexan Moto is my Bluetooth headset company and has been for over 3 years now. The quality and sound and battery life make those long days on the open road much more enjoyable. Their latest headset, the G16, is designed to make group rides much better with a 16-rider comm system, Bluetooth 5.0 music sharing, and fast USB-C charging. Among the many things Lexan does for our motor community, they also offer the best customer service in the industry. The team at Lexan just dropped their new Lexan Smart Tire Pump as well, which is a portable tire pump that can fit easily in your saddlebags. Check out lexan-moto.com to see all the awesome products, which are all designed to make life on two wheels better. And don't forget to drop the Fast Life offer code at checkout to save yourself 15%. And lastly, give these guys a follow on Instagram at Lexan Moto. thundermax and their ECM computers are designed to provide your EFI-equipped Harley Davidson with the most advanced auto-tuning on the market. And they just released their modules for the 2021 and up HD models. A thundermax ECM eliminates tuning hassles when upgrading your exhaust or air cleaner, or when adding a cam or big bore kit. thundermax is also in the suspension game with their iRide rear suspension. This is a performance air ride, which gives you the ability to adjust many aspects from the handlebar mounted touchscreen. This rear suspension is the best of both worlds. Check out these products at shoptmax.com and use offer code FASTLIFE to save yourself 10% off, and follow thundermax EFI on Instagram. I have been riding with Lucky Dave's seats and handlebars on almost all my bikes since 2016, and I'm happy to announce their partnership with us here at the Fast Life podcast. Their seats have always been the perfect fit for my ass, and with that trademark styling that I've come to love from the LD brand. Lucky Dave's also has some of the most dope handlebar options, from their classic San Diego bar to their Peacemaker bar and riser combos. They got what you need. I'm personally running the Peacemaker bars on both my T-Sport and Bagger. Head on over to luckydaves.com to check out all of their options for your HD, and grab yourself some swag while you're there. And lastly, give my guys a follow on Instagram at Lucky Daves. Now let's get it started with Vic, Mr. Mod Glide himself. Let's go.
Hey guys, you ready to let the dogs out?
Fast Life Podcast.
It wasn't like in person.
Oh well, shit, man.
So
I think since we started this podcast, I've only been up here to do podcasts one other time since that time that I met up with you at Dream Rides. That time.
Yeah.
It's only been one other time, and then when I came up here last time to do it, it was raining everywhere, so I got stuck, and I was on my bike only, so I ended up just staying with this same guy here. But yeah. Fucking NorCal is like so spread out, dude.
It is. Like, everybody thinks that everything's close. Like, I tell people where I'm at, and they're like, "Oh, you must be close to like Santa Barbara, or you're close to like San Diego," and I'm like, "Not even close."
Shit, you're not even close to fucking like
anything.
San Jose.
No, I actually live about 35 minutes south of Modesto. So we moved 2 years ago. We bought a house in Atwater, which is between Modesto and Fresno. And basically, if you're hauling ass down the 99, you blow right past us.
How far is that past? Was it Trulock? Turlock?
Turlock, 15 minutes.
It's not bad. I used to go there to fuck with Ali in the Sinister Wheels and shit every once in a while. Yeah. They had a good brewery there off the highway.
Dust Bowl.
Yeah.
Still there. It's huge.
Fucking nice. But hey, man, I appreciate you doing this because, you know, when I first got into the whole performance bagger scene, like your bike was one of the main ones that was like on social media that kind of helped bring the whole style to the rest of the country, if you will.
Yeah.
Because I remember like seeing your bike and it was like yours, Race Glide, and then like MJK. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like those are the three that I remember the most from like 2018, 2017 and shit. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
I finished mine. I got mine done kind of started in 2017 with that. I got it in 2016, like for Father's Day.
Yeah.
And just rode around. I hadn't ridden in a long time, and so I was like, I'll just get the feel of this. And then I started collecting a bunch of parts, and I wasn't sure what I was going to do with it. And I went to a shop. I was like, hey, I want these handlebars, and there were just some meat hooks. And the guy's like, oh, we don't have any of those, and I'll call you when they come in. I'm like, all right, cool. And then I just kind of let it go, and I never got a call. And I was just like, well, that's probably a blessing in disguise.
Yeah.
Then the next thing I saw was like, oh, they're putting like T-bars on baggers and stuff. Because I saw Ivan's bike, and that was like the first for me. Ivan's bike, and then Race Glide.
Yeah.
For sure was like one of the first two. And then my buddy Albert, he's out of the Bay Area. He had a Road King, CVO Road King, and he had it dialed in with an inverted front end and all that stuff. And then I met my buddy Nick out of Pittsburgh, and he had an inverted front end on his bike in like 2016. I think he started in like 2016.
Yeah.
He had mid controls, inverted front end on a Road Glide. Did everything himself, painted the whole bike himself, built the whole motor himself, and I was just like, I met him and we started talking. And
which bike was his?
So his bike, he wasn't like popular on social media. There was like a few pictures of it, and then I saw it and I hit him up and I'm like, dude, you're like close to me. And he's like, oh, I'm out in Pittsburgh. I'm like, oh, okay, yeah, I'm from Pittsburgh. I lived out there. So we started talking, and then he helped me get some stuff dialed in on my bike and helped me set up like the 18-inch rear. So I had an 18-inch rear on it.
Because you have an 07, right? Like
I had an early. He had an 07 also, but his was Road Glide.
Is there an issue like putting the bigger wheel in the 07s? Is it like does it start to rub like the does it have a swing arm space? So
the first thing I did, I think, was I went to like a 140-ish tire or whatever they call it, like a 90 or 95 MU, whatever it was back then. So I tried that, and I was like, all right, well, this works out. And then I just kind of progressed a little bit more, and I got the Enforcer front, and then I had a wagon wheel on the back. I'm like, this looks like trash. Like, I can't. It's okay because that's what I can do. And then my buddy Nick was like, oh, you got to go to an 18 and a 150. And I'm like, well, how do you do that? He's like, just find an 18-inch front wheel, and we'll drill and tap out the holes, and we can put a pulley and brake on there. So I had him do that for me, and then I painted up the wheels, and you couldn't even tell that it wasn't an Enforcer wheel on the back. It looked like I had Enforcer on the front and rear. So it was like one of those deals where it was like everybody was tripped out on it. They were like, well, you got T-bars and you got this. And I had the 18 on the back, but when I went 2 up, it started rubbing the wiring because I didn't have tall enough suspension.
Oh, yeah. Because they ran the wires under the fenders on those things.
Yeah, they run through a conduit, run right back to the brake light. And then so we were riding one night, we went to a bike night out in Tracy, went to the gas station half a block down, and then the bike wouldn't fire up. So then they towed it back over to the shop. Larry over there fixed it the next day. And then we took it down to Merced to the Rendezvous show. Yeah. And I got it back, and then I figured it all out. I'm like, oh, well, the wire's rubbing, and this is what happened under here. So I had to fix all that. And I got taller suspension. Then I was like, all right, well, what are we going to do from here? I was like, I got to go wider. My goal was to fit a 180 on the back of the bike, and I did.
What was the main things you had to fix to make that happen?
Change the swing arm. I got a 2017 fender on the bike that's wedged into the frame rails, so it's not chopped up, it's not hacked up. If I take it all apart, it looks like it's supposed to be there. Yeah. That was the whole goal, is to make the bike look like it came from the factory, but change all the stuff. So it's got the wide fender.
So what'd you do on the swing arm? You ran like a newer swing arm too?
I had a track swing arm. I had track do a swing arm for me, and I was running a 150 on there. Then my sprocket bolts came loose, milled out the swing arm, tore it all up, leaving born free in 2018. Got a hold of track, took them to swing arm. They were like, we can't fix it. I'm like, well, make me a new one. Call me when it's ready. Send it to my house. 7 weeks later, I got a new swing arm that was actually widened out, so it's as wide as your bagger. Yeah. So it's 10 3/4 on the inside to inside, so I can put a 180 or 200 tire on the back, and
that's dope.
And it all fits nice. I mean,
Well, it's like I remember when all the skinny tire bagger stuff really started popping off, and that's what I also remember. Like your name came up in the things a lot. Remember like the hardcore cycles they were doing skinny tire bagger build offs?
Yeah, that was a couple years ago.
Yeah, and it was for Daytona, which I know a lot of people in California don't really go to Daytona. And trust me, you're not missing anything. No. But hey. But yeah, I mean, like those bikes have always been, the older ones have always been like a great ripper to be, to get in very. I mean, they're still expensive. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But you can find like even older ones like the 03s, 04s and shit like that, like before they put like the 6-speeds in it and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Pretty decent price.
I got an 07 and I paid what I thought was decent money for back then because I've seen 07s now that are going for $3,000 or $4,000 more than what I paid for mine 6 years ago. And yeah, I mean, I have the 6-speed 96, it came with all that stuff. It was like, I think it was first year because the build date on it was like June of 06.
Yeah, I think 07 is.
It was like the very first iteration of the 96 and the 6-speed. So I got lucky on that deal, but I kind of wish it was like an 08 or 09 because the hardest part is finding a seat for them bikes because nobody wants to make anything or do anything for them.
Well, see, on the 08, the 08 is unique as well because there's something, they changed the tank.
They got the new tank, and then it was the first year Cush drive, which is not really the Cush drive.
Yeah.
So yeah, you got to change some stuff to make it either just go chain drive. I mean, I ended up just going chain drive. Wide 18-inch wheel in the back, raise the bike up, and put a big tire on there. I had a 150 on it, then now I'm on a 180. Yeah. But I'll probably go back down to a 150.
Well, the 18 rear wheel is what, I don't know, I've always felt like that hands down is one of those things that make bikes look sick, especially baggers. And forever baggers were coming with the 16s, and then even the new Softails are all coming with 16s, and they just kind of look too it looks too cushiony back there. Not enough like performance. I hate to use the word performance. It doesn't look aggressive at all.
Yeah.
But the 18 really gives it that fucking vibe.
And it raises the bike up because you're going to a taller tire.
Yeah,
so,
exactly.
You get a little bit more height out of it if you're trying to build a performance bagger.
All the baggers, from the factory, even the specials and the standards all come with the 18-inch rear wheel now.
Yeah.
So it's pretty dope.
That's the way to go, especially for tires and stuff too, because it was back then it was harder to get the 18-inch tires in a decent size. You had to run at least a 150 70 18. I think I'm on a 180 55 18 or something like that now. Yeah.
So since then, I mean, like when you started building this bike back then, there's always been such a heavy FXR Dyna kind of influence out here. And a lot of the shops, even then, in 16, when I built my first Dyna, I was up here working and I was buying parts from all the homies at shops up here to take home and do my Dyna, right? So I feel like it's probably the perfect place to be able for that to kind of curate and become a thing up here. You know what I'm saying? With all the influence.
There's really not a lot. For
real?
I mean, there's some baggers that are really nice. I mean, everybody has a different style. Like a lot of the guys are now trickling into that, but I mean, everybody out here they either got big motors or something crazy with it. So,
I see that.
I just performance, if you want to call it that, whatever they want to call it, the performance styling, like that. I don't think it's that huge. I mean, you've been out here to like the bike nights. There's not a lot. I mean, there's guys they'll do the motors or they'll do like wheels and bars and stuff like that. And the bikes look really nice and they're all super clean. But when you're mixing those two together, it's really not a huge scene up here. I would say for that.
I could see that. I mean, I feel like there's got to be some people up here now, but I do know what you're saying about how a lot of bikes, they'll have big motors. That's always been a big thing up here. Especially with the, like all the dudes in Oakland and shit like that, those type of bikes. Tall suspension, things like that. I haven't seen a lot of that up here.
Yeah.
Not on baggers. I've seen it on Dynas and FXRs, obviously.
It's not as prominent up here as people think it is. I mean, there's a few up here, but it's not like the scene's not huge here in Northern California. The way that people think that it would be. I don't know. I don't know why. I mean, I think it probably is. Yeah. But a lot of people aren't really on social media either. So like the guys that are building these bikes, they don't post them as much. Or if they post them, there's a few pictures on a private page. Yeah, yeah. And then like you'll see them out. Like I've seen a bunch of bikes out, and I'm like, oh, okay, cool. He's got Olins, he's got XYZ, and all this stuff. I'm like, never seen the bike before. Like it's just parked outside of the bar or wherever it's at. Yeah. And it's like that's a pretty nice bike, but it's rare to see them on social media. I don't think there's just a big push.
Has anybody pulled together had done something to try to pull those guys together as far as like a performance style bike night? Not just your run of the mill Harley bike night or a camping trip or just anything. There's a ton of things.
Not really.
Out here they do runs. That's the big thing, right?
Yeah, there's a lot of
rides,
poker runs and rides. Like last weekend we did the Big Manny run. He passed away earlier this year, and everybody's bummed about that. And so
that run's been going around for a while though.
Yeah. So Nasty actually, I guess, got it all together. Him and a few other guys, and then some of the guys from a track came out from Japan, and so they were out for that, and they loved it. And
I rode with Nasty, Big Manny, and I want to say his name is Dirty. The red, his like a red Road Glide or red, kind of Mexican looking dude. Nasty Nate or something like that. When I think of Nasty Nate, I always think of fucking Half Baked.
No, they used to ride with White Boy John a lot.
White Boy John, he was
out there. He had his bike out, and Nasty came out, and he actually lives out in Modesto. He used to live around the corner from him.
So they all came out to Tulsa once, and we all rode together for this thing they used to do called a Biker Boys Weekend.
Yeah.
And they were out doing wheelies and shit back in this is like 2012.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And we were up there, and then we ended up partying all night together and shit like that. It was pretty dope.
Yeah.
Yeah,
those
that's
guys.
when I met them, and then 2 years later I started flying up here to work, and then I'm like, we're following each other, but we never linked up here, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But
those guys are
those are rad, yeah.
Those guys kill it. Nasty is literally, he's nasty on a bike. Like that dude just gets it.
Yeah.
Like he's doing stuff, you're like, man, if I pop my clutch that hard, I don't know. I'd be in the bushes over here. I don't know. Like he's just got it down. He's been doing it for so long, and no fear. He knows what the bike's gonna do. So
it's the conversation has been wild the last couple of years about air quotes performance and stuff like that, and it sucks because there is that whole scene of those type of bikes, like that Oakland style.
Those bikes are all big motors, fancy paint, big wheels. They're extravagant. There's a lot of money put in those bikes.
Yeah,
like I look at all those bikes, I'm like, it's sick. It's clean. Like they'll have some sort of logoed bike or themed bike or whatever, but those bikes they got everything done with them.
Yeah.
These guys take them down to frames. They're painting and powder and whatever what they want with the frames. Put a big motor in them, chain drive in them. I mean, they might have a 23 or 23 on the front.
Yeah.
But I mean, they've got all the power out back.
Yeah, and that's the thing. It's like it was a style of bike, and drag racing has always been big in that culture, to my knowledge.
Yeah.
Because a lot of those cats would come through Dallas as well, and then they'd be in like L.A. and Atlanta, and with all those type of clubs. Because I used to be involved with some of those back in the day, and you'd always see these guys passing through, and then they'd come out and race. We'd all be it'd be baggers racing each other, basically.
Yeah.
Like street racing and shit,
Yeah, they're still doing that. I mean,
the first BRL.
That's the real bagger racing league.
Yeah.
I mean, all the clubs that do their thing up here. I think that's more than any. If you see stuff, that's more of what you see. A lot of that stuff is those guys, having their events, doing their thing.
Yeah.
And like I said, all those bikes are they're sick. I mean, these guys are out there just letting them eat.
Yeah, and it's a style of bike though. It's like it's its own thing.
Yeah.
Is what I've always tried to say to people. It's like, like those bikes have been around for a while, because I started seeing those in like 2008, and some of those cats came to Dallas. And I mean, at the time in 2008, we were all doing, stretch bags and fucking trying, at the time it was just 23 as well, but that's the look. But then, these guys are coming in with stock bags, fucking chain drives,
right,
tall ass fucking ape hangers back to their all the way back,
pull back
all the way,
the OG pullbacks,
yeah, the triple OGs.
But I mean, all those bikes get it. They're all fast.
Yeah.
Like so they got coming up, I think it's Breed Weekend, which is going to be the same weekend as Born Free. So everybody will be down in SoCal, and when like Rare Breed has their weekends and East Bay Dragons, people come out from all over the country, and that's
fucking wild.
These are big events.
When they do their parties, they'll end up having like headline, like Mystical will be at this thing, right? It's just fucking wild. Like
the man right here.
Yeah, exactly. I've been to a couple of those, like, when they would do them in Dallas. I never came to any of the ones out in LA, but I used to, back in the day, I used to sell a lot of the Crush Tube Triple OG handlebars, because we all ran them on our bikes. We just didn't run the 21 inches. We'd run like 14s and sometimes 16s to get that nice little. It was in my opinion, they look cooler than like what are the ones that like a lot of the Beekla style bikes run? They're like the Carlinis.
Yeah.
They look cooler than that because they have the meat hook thing.
Right.
They're way easier to wire because they're fatter tubes.
Yeah.
You know, but it's a lifetime ago.
Yeah. Yeah, I didn't really get into it until 16, 17. So, but I look at all those bikes and I'm like, I like all the styling of it, you know, that everybody's doing. It's just you look at it, and you know what they put into it. You know what you have in your bike, and you're looking at that bike, you're like, damn, you're like, man, I got like 40 or 50 grand in my bike, and that bike's like sitting on 100, you know, and you're like, what do you do? Like, I'm not going to spend another 50 on mine. It's okay.
Yeah, just ride it. And that's the thing I've always respected about those guys is that they would do that and they would ride them.
Yeah.
You know, they'd be ripping them across the country. And honestly, I've said it many times on the podcast, my first actual bike trip I ever took was with one of those type of clubs. They invited me out. I rode to Florida with them and fucking had a blast. You know what I'm saying? And they all fucking ride. And when we rode from Texas to Florida, there was guys from California that rode to Texas to ride with us to Florida.
Yeah.
So it's like that culture has always been about smashing miles.
Yep.
And then when you get there, fucking having a good time.
Yep.
So much respect.
Crossing the state lines.
Yeah.
You know.
I did kind of fuck with them a little bit because their whole thing was like back in the day in MySpace, or not MySpace, but early Instagram and Facebook. All they would do is do these state line signs.
Yeah.
Like, oh fuck, I'm in here. So, but smashing highways. They never go explore the area. So
right.
That's what we kind of ended up falling in love with as well. Because the first couple of trips I did, we did just smash, and it was dope to just get to the places. But
yeah,
you feel like you missed all these badass things that are
right. Yeah, you miss all the just sightseeing and all the points of interest or whatever is going on. Yeah, that's how it is riding with Roji. We went with Roji and Jerry and those guys a couple years ago out to Four Corners. Shit. So we met up with them. We were supposed to meet up with them somewhere in Nevada, and we ended up going north, and we went up to the Salt Flats, and then we were like, all right, we're going to meet in Salt Lake, and then we didn't end up going, so we met up with them like closer to Montana.
Damn. To go to fucking Four Corners?
Yeah.
Wow.
We took the long route. But we met up with them, but then you see everything. Like we went through Yellowstone, we went through Zion coming back. You know,
Zion's so sick. We just did it a couple weeks ago, and it was insane.
Yeah. So I mean, it was cool. Like we weren't planning on going to Zion on the way back. They're like, "Oh, we're gonna go to Zion." I'm like, "All right, well, we're just kind of following you guys." So we went through Zion, rode through, and all that stuff, and that was pretty awesome. And then, I mean, I think we hit 7 or 8 states before we even got to Colorado just to go to Four Corners, which is like, I don't know, 18 hours or something from my house. Like I could have straight shotted it and been there, but you know, it's all about the adventure and going out there. Like, you know, I get to do it.
I've been following Jerry for a while, but I just over the last maybe 2-3 years, I've been following Roji. And so remember Vic's old lady Tiffany was talking about Roji. He's the one that owns that Black Flies. Yeah. And like last year, the year before, like they all did that thing where they rode all the way to the Keys.
Yeah.
Then they went and hit they watched like the Road America race.
Yeah, they did a whole deal. They were supposed to go further up, I think, but they got stuck with a bunch of rain.
Yeah.
And like, so they got held up for like I think a day or two. So they ended up cutting that part of their trip short. But
fucking rad, like from SoCal all the way to there up, and they were literally hitting like north as fuck, like Minnesota or some shit like that. I can't remember all the places they went, but it was rad. But yeah, they do some fucking miles, man. So kudos to that. That's dope. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I think we go to Colorado and back. I think we were at like about 2,800 miles when it was all said and done.
Bro.
And that was short trip.
Yeah,
you know,
I mean,
we could have went further and did more, but you know.
Yeah, if we rip straight from Dallas, then go just do SoCal and then back, it's about 2,800 miles too.
Yeah.
But you got fucking huge mountains in the way that you got to either dip under, or what we found out is to ride the cool ones, you got to get a fucking pass to ride through it now.
Oh yeah,
so do the 120.
Yeah, to go up through Yosemite. Yeah, there's Tioga Pass.
Yeah.
So yeah, they've been having a deal, I guess, where you have to get a pass or a permit to go through. I don't know. I've been up there a couple times with Casey, Mischievous Penguins, who does a lot of like pictures and stuff for me. I actually got my bike from him through his dad had the bike, and left it with him. They moved to Florida, sold their house, moved to Florida. Like, hey, sell my bike for me. I'm out. And they left the state, and So then I saw the bike at his house. I was like, well, what are you doing with that? And he's like, well, I'm going to sell it. I'm like, all right, cool. I'll take it. I'll be back 2 weeks to pick it up. So that's how I got the bike.
Yeah.
But I mean, that's
one of the things I wanted to bring up because
same thing. Yeah. That's one of the difference. Your bike is sick, but one of the big differences in your page and a lot of people's is the photography aspect of it, where you bring high quality, like in my opinion, like inspiring type pictures, where it's not just it's not just a gas station pic or which
some shit
I appreciate those, but the extra mile that you put into it means a lot. I mean, it clearly shows your page it looks professional, looks like a brand.
Yeah. I mean, I owe it all to Casey. He got into photography as a hobby. That's not even his day job. He's got a regular job, and we've been friends for I don't know, years, 10, 15 years, whatever. And so he's like, oh, well, you need like high quality pictures. Your pictures suck. And I was like,
spoken like a true photographer.
I was like, what do you mean? Like, my Android doesn't take good enough photos. They come out looking like potatoes. And he's like, yeah, let's go take some photos. And I was like, all right, well, cool, whatever. You tell me what to do. And he just started taking pictures. And he's like, all right, we'll go do this. And then put the bike over here and do this and go right over here. And I'll just take some photos. And I was like, all right. And then he comes up with these edits. And I was just like, wow. I guess my phone's crap. I'll never use that again to take a photo of my bike. And I mean, we've just been doing that ever since.
It's a big difference, though. I mean, it makes them more entertaining to look at, and it makes people, when you're mindlessly scrolling down Instagram, it's like, oh shit, what is that? That whether it was a badass sunset, or whatever, but it all draws you into what's going on the page. Seeing the bike.
We'll go shoot a bunch of sunset or some sunrise stuff, and it's just. Sucks to wake up early in the morning, but
well, it's cool to see after doing like a deep dive on yours, to go back and see the evolution of not only the bike from the day you picked it up to where it is now, but the quality of his photos and edits and everything from when he first started to where they're at now. Mm-hmm. I mean, it's a noticeable difference on all of it. That's really cool to see that, see the evolution of that.
Yeah, we used to do a lot more. We had a little bit more time to do stuff, but being an adult sucks, so you gotta work. But like, I would change stuff like weekly on the bike. I'm like, hey, I changed like 4 or 5 things. What are you doing this weekend? Oh, let's go shoot some photos. And then we would change stuff. So like, I'd post some photos from like whatever the first shoot was, and then you'll see like, then there's changes to the bike. You're like, well, that wasn't there on the last photo. And then, so every time I changed something, it was always like, hey, how soon can we go shoot some photos? And then we were shooting, kind of like semi-weekly or whatever. And there wasn't a lot of people doing much, and it was kind of the beginning of the performance bagger scene, so it's like 2017, 2018. And so as everything changed and progressed, that's what really like made a huge difference in just posting photos when nobody else had any content, because half the country goes in a deep freeze in November, December, January, February. Well, I mean, it's nice out here all the time pretty much, like,
so you can still make the content.
So we were still getting content, so I was getting a lot of content in those months, and that kind of helps, when that's the kind of the only thing that you're really seeing.
Exactly.
To get out there is that, oh, well, this bike keeps popping up, and like, it's all over the place.
That's what I was getting at, is because, like I said, in the earlier days of like the era of performance baggers, it is what I was privy to, which was what was taking place on social media, right? Your bike was one of those ones, and like I said, it was, you had the gold wheels originally. Those things were popping. You know what I'm saying? And it just all kind of worked. And it's like, as this whole like trend or this genre of bike has grown, it's crazy how many people never, when you were doing it and I was kind of shortly after you, it just felt like nobody ever gave a fuck about it. It wasn't a big deal. And then now it is a big deal. And now in some aspects, it feels like so many people are like, oh, you guys weren't the ones. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
you weren't there.
Well, because nobody pays attention to history.
Exactly.
I don't even think they teach it in school anymore. That's just why we're in the current state that we're in. But that's what it is. Nobody's going to scroll through somebody's Instagram page and go back 4 or 5 years. They're gonna see whatever the top thing is or whatever the top's in their Explorer, and that's who's doing it right now, because that's what they saw first. So that's just kind of the way it goes, and if you want to stay up on it, then you got to keep evolving. And if you don't keep evolving, you kind of dissolve, and you end up going backwards, or you just fizzle out or whatever. And that doesn't mean that you're not still doing it, and it's not still trendy, just nobody sees it as much. That's all it is. So,
well, I feel like put it like this, like every day someone might follow you, right? And when they follow you, everything about you and what you've done in your life and what you put on social media is all news to them now, right?
Right.
And for some of us, like we feel like we've been putting our life out on the gram for so long that there's like this big open book about anybody. You just got to scroll back like he just did.
It's like a resume of your personal life.
Yeah,
or the
yeah.
things you care about.
Yeah.
And so many people don't. And then, or they'll listen to the podcast for the first time and they don't follow me or know anything. And they assume that when I make statements like, yeah, we were kind of the guys at the beginning, not the ones that created it, but we are the ones that like promoted it and made it like more nationwide. Like not just me, but you, Race Glide. Like I said, Race Glide, you and MJK were the ones that had the bikes that I was like, fuck, that's a dope ass thing. Like I'm interested in this.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. That's kind of how it was. Like you said, those were the first people. Like I think Race Glide was probably one of the more popular guys in the beginning. You know, and that was the evolution was.
And this dude's from fucking Boston. You know what I'm saying?
But it was the content that he was putting out. You know, he's putting out stuff that nobody else was. He had a bunch of GoPro footage, and he had a bike with an inverted front end. And back at that time, that wasn't
very common.
And I'm sure he may or may not have been the first person to do it, but he was probably one of the first people that I saw do it.
Yeah.
Him and then my buddy Albert were probably the first ones that I saw do it.
Yeah.
But like I said, there's other people. There's J-Rock 510, who I think he had a Kraus front end back in like 15 or 16, like one of the very first ones.
Yeah.
But I didn't know who he was because some people just don't post a lot of that stuff on the social media. They don't really care. And you can go back and there's probably a few pictures of his bike there with that stuff on there in 15 or 16. But
to that point,
unless you know who it is, you're not going to go back and look.
Yeah, so this is what sucks about that because we all meet those people here nowadays, right? Oh, I don't do good at social media. I don't want to do it. All right, well, so you don't want to play this game, but then 5 years later, whenever the people that did play the game are getting the credit for playing the game, and you want to be like, oh no, I was first. I'm like, well, there's this game that we're all playing here,
right?
And you said you didn't want to play.
If it didn't, if it didn't happen on social media, it probably just didn't happen. That's kind of the way it is. I mean, you know, and
it's I don't want to take anybody's credit away for what they may have done and influenced in the past. But you know, Jaden said it best the other day on another podcast. He goes, "Well, what was it? If the tree falls in the woods?"
Yeah, I didn't create that. That's an old saying,
but in reference to this,
right? Yeah, not posting or not doing it. You know, if you're not, you may not have been the first, but if you're the first one to put it out there, then you quasi kind of are the first as far as the people that are seeing, the masses that are seeing it for the first time. And if you do it and don't share it with anybody, then did you even do it? Because if a tree falls in the woods and nobody's around to hear it, does it make a noise? I mean, that's.
I guess so. I don't know. I wasn't there to hear it.
Yeah,
man, I love this picture. Going back to your buddy real quick, the Mischievous Penguin. What time of the day did y'all shoot that? And I'm sure this will be covered.
That's morning.
And just for the people listening, since we can't pull this one up, I'm sure it'll be covered in the intro. But his Instagram is mod_glide07, and the picture I'm specifically talking about is in front of the Golden Gate Bridge. And it really speaks to me right now because we were just there, that Battery Park. I assume that's probably where y'all are at.
They're on the San Francisco side.
Okay, well, fuck me. On the other side. I guess I'll go fuck myself.
That's like Presidio Park area. There's a parking lot down there, and we were kind of shooting some other photos. And if you go back like December of like 2017 or January of 18, there's a photo where we framed it between two trees, and we shot the Golden Gate Bridge in the background at like 6 o'clock in the morning, like as the sun was coming up.
You've got one on. I think there's one at night too. You've got that's real sick.
So it's similar to that photo, but that was one of the first photos we did. And we did that. I mean, I got up at like 4 o'clock in the morning, rode all the way to San Francisco, freezing cold. We stopped in Oakland at a gas station.
That one?
Yeah, there it is. Yeah, we stopped in Oakland at a gas station. I'm like, dude, I'm freezing. I jumped in his car. I got my hands on the heater vents.
Hell yeah.
And then we took off, went out there, and we just started shooting photos, and we framed it out. And then I think the other one that you were just referring to might have been in that same day.
There was like a wave crashing and the water splashing up, and it just looks like the cover of something, man.
So how that came about was I think tide was coming in that day, and we went down to that area, and he's like, "Oh, it's all wet over here." So I go, "Dude, the water crashing off of those rocks is gonna be dope. Just set your camera up. I'm gonna put the bike here. You tell me where you want it, so it's framed out. We'll put it here, and all you do is just spray and pray. Because when the water comes up, just have your finger on the button." And we got a few different photos where the water is at different levels, but that's that are different heights when it came up, and that's just how they came out. And then he just did an edit on them, and I mean, it fucking came out pretty good. I mean, there's another photo from that's apparently been used in some ads to rent motorcycles or something like that everybody keeps sending me. And I hit the company up. I'm like, hey, you know, like, those are my photos. Like, you could at least give me credit because you are using one of me actually on the bike. Yeah. And they're like, oh, well, it didn't have anything, and we got it from some website. I go, that's fine. I go, but you got to understand that that's my intellectual property. Like, you're putting it out there because you found it somewhere, and that's when it doesn't matter.
When they do that to advertise or use it to make money, that's even as a wannabe photographer, that's what I hate the most. Yeah. Like, you take pictures of a bike, and then I'll tag brands like, hey, there's a cool photo. I don't mind if you repost it. But then when you repost it and you put like, buy this part. Right. Buy this, buy that. You know, it's like, hey, man, now you're making money off my photo. I didn't even make any money on it. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? So
it's kind of a losing battle. Like, really, most of these photos I don't even own. Casey's the guy that took all the photos, so actually it's all his intellectual property. So, yeah, you know, if he puts them on a website that's like a free to take site, then it is what it is. And, you know, I don't get too mad about it. It's just, you know, it's getting out there then. Yeah. You know, but it'd be nice if, you know,
give me my money, man.
Well, just give me credit.
Yeah, just credit.
You know, just give me credit. That's all. Like, really, I'm not going to make anything selling photos of myself for the bike. Nobody's really. It's a free app. You can just save them off of there yourself. Yeah. So,
man, I love your wife's T-Sport too.
Thanks. Yeah, we did. We got that. It's just it's an FXDX. It wasn't an OG T-Sport. Okay. I mean, the only difference is like the fairing on that bike because it's got all the suspension, all that stuff. Yeah. But yeah, I bought that because I was going to use that as a commuter because I was working in the Bay Area, right by Arlen Ness. Yep. And I found that bike over at Kirk Taylor's shop. He had it up for sale, and I was like, I asked a couple people, I was like, hey, is this a good deal? And they're like, if you don't go buy that bike, we're going to go buy it. And it was the OG tri-coat pearl white. I'm like, it's white. I like white. Mm-hmm. You know, so we went over to look at the bike, and we were kind of messing around with my wife. She hadn't really ridden or anything.
I remember because when I talked to you about that time, I remember you talking about y'all were going out to practice with her.
Yeah, we'd been together. I don't know how long it had been at that time, but like I'd never seen her ride a bicycle, so I didn't know if she could ride a motorcycle. Yeah. And so we were kind of looking. We were trying to get her into riding a little bit, and we're trying to find a bike that actually fit her, that like looked cool. And thanks. And so we went over to look at this bike, and it was a girl-owned bike previously. And I sat on it. I was like, man, this thing's super low. I had like some 11-inch shocks on this thing, and it was set up all low. And I'm talking to Kirk, and she's like, can I sit on it? And I'm like, well, yeah, we're buying it right now. So like, if anything happens, I own it anyway. Yeah. And so she sits on it, and she's like, my feet touch the ground. My feet touch the ground. And she could flat foot and have her knees bent and all that stuff. And I'm like, all right, cool. I guess we own the bike now, and it's not mine anymore. And I've only ridden it probably, I don't know, a couple dozen times in the whole time that we've owned it, just because it was never built for me. It was always built for her. So we got her on the bike. I dialed in a few things, and I was like, all right, cool. This is what you do. And she can drive a manual. So I was like, you got it. You're using hand and foot. So I got her dialed in, and she made a lap around the block, and I was like, you're good? And she's like, yeah, I'm fine. And then so she made a couple more laps around the block, and then next thing you know, I'm getting a notification. I'm like, Snapchat? What is she Snapchatting? Did she fall? And I get a Snapchat note, and I'm looking, and it's her riding her bike, and I'm like,
she's all.
I'm like, yeah, one-handed. I'm like, we're 10 minutes into this, right? So she comes back, and I'm like, give me your phone. Go put your jacket on. Make sure you get your helmet on. She's like, why? I'm like, because you don't know enough, and if somebody backs out of their driveway, you're gonna panic with one hand on the bars, and next thing you know, you're gonna get hit, or you're hitting the ground. So I took her phone away from her, and she went out and was doing some more laps, and then I didn't hear her anymore. And I was in the garage working. I'm like, well, I don't hear her going around the block. Well, she went around to a parking lot, like a store a couple blocks away.
Doing wheelies and stuff.
Burnouts mostly. Yeah. So she's over there, and then she was gone for a while, and I'm like, well, I have her phone, so if something happened, I don't know what's going on. Yeah. So I start walking down the street, and then I hear the bike coming. I'm like, all right, well, here she comes. And she comes up, and her arm's all bleeding. Oh, no. I think at that point she just had her helmet on. She didn't have a jacket on. Her arm's bleeding. She's like, I'm okay, but like I fell over because I was trying to make a U-turn, and I got target fixated, and I went into I kind of just hit the bush. She's like, but I got the bike up, and I got to restart it. I'm back. I'm like, all right, cool. So I took her in the house, cleaned her up. All right, put your jacket on and get back out there. Because you know how it is. If you fall and you don't get back on right away, you kind of just don't. So she just kept going and going, and she just progressed from there. And
she pretty like solid now, like on the bike and everything.
Yeah, Yeah, I got to chase her down. Yeah. For a while, I got her bike done, and then she was actually doing really well, and she went to the class and got her license and all that stuff, and that was all cool. And one night we were coming home like 2 months before Born Free in 2018, I think. And I was like, hey, there were some kids on like an FZ07 and a couple other these little bikes. I'm like, hey, I'm gonna mess with these kids. We're gonna take off from this light. Just don't follow me. And I was like talking to her through our headsets. And then she's like, okay. And then so we leave the light, and I'm like hauling ass, and these kids are behind me, and we're ripping. Apparently, she took off with me, and I didn't know this. And we come up, and we're kind of coming to a corner, and I was like, all right, well, time to slow down. I tapped the brakes. She panic braked, dropped the bike. It went sliding past me. She's on the side of the road. I'm like, Jesus Christ, stop, go back, get her. She was okay, just a bunch of rash and stuff. Bike's all mangled. I called my neighbor. We went and got my truck, threw the thing in the back of the truck. My kid came and got her, drove her to the hospital. They got her all cleaned up. We put the bike back together in like 2 months, had it all done. I think she damaged her fairing. We didn't have a fairing, but we got everything all done. She pretty much put the whole bike back together by herself. All new powder. Yeah. And that's when she got with the raspberry color, because she had another color that was, she was trying to go for a rose gold. Yeah. And it looked good in the sun, but it didn't look good in the shade. And so she wasn't really happy with it. I'm like, you just wrecked the bike because you wanted me to redo all the powder. So she's like, no. And I'm like, all right. So we got it all redone, made it to Born Free, and then just kind of evolved from there. And I was like, all right, well, we're going to go ride some more. So whatever you want to do to the bike, you need to tell me now. So we ended up getting her an FXRP fairing. Okay. She got a seat, changed all her stuff.
So does she enjoy like those longer rips, like from here to Born Free type stuff? Or?
Yeah, she's juiced to go. She wants to ride anywhere. She doesn't care. She just wants to ride. And so we were just down for 10 months with the motor rebuild and the whole debacle, and like it was just a rough time, you know, because she's all upset. I'm like, man, I don't even want to go ride my bike because I can't be out, and we're not going to ride two up. She hates that. She won't do that, and I'd look funny on the back because I'm too tall. And so I mean, we finally got her bike done 2 weeks ago. She's got almost 900 miles on it in 2 weekends. Nice. So we're gonna rip down to Born Free, and yeah, I mean, she just wants to go anywhere.
I'm looking forward to Born Free this year. I didn't go last year because last year they didn't do it in 2020.
They did 2021, but it was late August.
Yeah. So we did, because we do our trip every year in June, and last year in June we were in Maine. So obviously that was just out of the question. And then of course they moved it as well. But me and Jaden stayed back on this trip just so that we could do podcasts and then go do Born Free this year and hang out and shit. So we're pretty stoked about it. I'm actually going to do Kirk Taylor podcast tomorrow morning.
Oh, right on.
Yeah. So
he's a good guy. I just got him a set of risers for a bike that he's doing over there.
Nice. Yeah, I've met him. I've seen him at like SEMA before, but I've never officially met the guy. So pretty stoked to do
awesome
a podcast.
Dude.
Yeah,
he's got like probably the best hair in the bike game. If you ever see him like ride with no helmet and it just kind of just flows. And
yeah, that's what Brian TBJ was saying.
Yeah, super nice dude, super humble. Builds awesome, cool bikes, and yeah.
Nice.
I'm glad to know that guy.
So what's your like your favorite like ride or trip out here that y'all kind of do every year? Is it the Born Free thing, or is it some other little hidden gems up here in the NorCal area that you do?
Just everything. I don't know. We really don't have like a favorite.
One, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I think if I had to pick, like going to Colorado is probably our favorite thing. Mm-hmm. The Four Corners Rally, riding out there in Colorado is awesome. The $1 Million Highway and going into Uray and Silverton and all that stuff is just it's phenomenal. The roads are smooth, they're paved, they're nice, and like they make the roads out here. I mean, we got trash roads out here, but they make them look like worse than that. And it's just cool because there's not a lot of cars traveling on there, so you can rip as much as you want. You can stop, take photos, or do whatever you want to do. But that's the best riding. I mean, we rode out there, and I got stuck on the mountain with Jason from Ride Faster Pussy and Brad from Crash Inc. We got stuck on a mountain because Jason's bike failed, so Casey and Ivy took off. I was like, hey, we'll just go because we're still like hours away from our hotel. Yeah. And we're hours away from getting a tow. Like I had to go 20 miles up the road to just get service. So they took off and they went and they were coming into Silverton, which is about 3 hours from where we were, and her throttle cable snaps on her, like just pulling in. And they were just about ready to go. They were going to go right and go up the hill and try to go over the $1 Million Highway into Durango. And they're like, well, let's pull over here in Silverton. And so luckily they did, because if she would have got on that hill, there's nowhere to pull over. And so She's like, I got a snap throttle cable. And I was like, well, you can pull you can pull the other cable off. You can pull the return cable off and do that. I was like, well, hold on a second. Let me get to service. And then by the time that was all going down, the tow was coming. They picked up Jason. And then we got into cell service, and I called the dealer in Grand Junction, and they're like, yeah, we got a cable for it. And I'm like, cool, I'll be there in 20 minutes. Yeah. So we jammed over there and picked it up. I'm like, well, we're still 3 hours away. So me and Brad just hauled ass, and I think we caught up to them in about 2.5 hours, ripping through Uray and all the mountains. And
Brad's Crash Inc., right?
Yeah.
So he's the guy that was at the Timberview Harley that when we went up there.
Oh yeah, he's right there, and he's right Salem.
That was the day I stayed back with Jacob.
Oh yeah, you didn't go there. Okay,
yeah, he had the emergency.
So we stopped by the Timberview Harley, and he was there. And I've seen the Crash Inc. thing before, but yeah, he's like, hey man, what's up, man? I want to meet you. And I was like, I fucking know this guy. I know of his brand. You know what I mean? I think
he's friends with Juan, right? Juan was telling me
Juan,
about that.
So Juan is friends with him, and then that other dude that was riding around. I guess he goes by OG Mooch or something like that.
Oh yeah.
So I didn't know about that guy, but through this trip, we kept passing each other, going different places on the highway.
I think he was coming from Illinois or something like that, back up to Washington, or Oregon.
It's just awesome seeing all these different people on the road. This trip for us has been pretty awesome. Just linking up with people, and we threw a fucking Rager party here when we came here a week ago.
Yeah, I don't know if it was a week ago, 2 weeks ago.
It's kind of hard to remember.
You don't remember?
We've done so many miles and seen so many different things that it's really blurring together.
Yeah, this is
what we did. Throw a Rager here. I didn't sleep that night. I slept from about 7 a.m. to about 9 a.m.
So this is my buddy's trap house.
Okay.
That's what he called it. And so, it's what there's a kitchen table, a couch, and 3 beds, and a TV and internet.
That's all you need,
right?
We're guys. The only thing we're missing is a dog. I almost brought mine, but I didn't know where I was going.
Earlier. I was like, you know what? This place would be better with a dog here. Like
I was gonna bring him. He's home alone right now. He's all sad. He's upset that he's got to be at the house by himself.
Yeah.
I guess I should have asked, because
women hate that so little makes us happy, or that we can be happy with so little.
Yeah. Right? Yeah. I don't know. My wife's pretty simple, so she doesn't take much to make her happy.
That's good.
You get her not to be chauvinist, you get her a kitchen because she loves to cook. Not for any other reason. She just loves to cook. Get her a kitchen and a bike and a dog. She's dialed in.
Yeah.
And TikTok, I think. Yeah, that's it.
TikTok.
That sounds awesome.
She doesn't make TikTok. She
likes to watch it.
She just likes to check out the videos and stuff. Yeah. But,
so what do you how has your social media been with all the transition from, because your stuff's heavy photography the way mine is, but now everybody wants videos, like with TikTok and reels and shit like that. Have you started thinking about getting into doing any of that stuff?
Yeah, we're working on doing some stuff. Casey got a drone and some other stuff, and then we've got a couple GoPros. So Ivy's been shooting a lot of footage of us riding and stuff like that, but I'm like, you got to get some good stuff. You got to get us more in the twisties and the curvy roads, not just going straight like that. Going straight down the highway, it's cool because we're ripping. She rides 90, 95 miles an hour. I'm keeping up. I'm just chasing her down on the highway. For the longest time, she didn't have a speedo that worked. I set up a Dakota Digital, but I never programmed it for the speed. And I was like, I don't really know if I want her to know how fast she's going. So I'll just get to a comfortable speed, whatever you feel comfortable with, and let it eat. And then I just have the GPS on my phone, and so I always know how fast we're going. And I'll be like, hey, you good? And she's like, yeah. I'm like, okay, cool, because you're cruising 95, right? And she's like, oh, I am? Okay.
Well, she's on a Dyna, so I'm sure there's a point of no return.
Well, she says she's never had a wobble, never had an issue. She never complains about anything on the bike. She also never says that anything is great other than the rear suspension that I put on the bike. She was like, that was the only thing she's ever said anything good about. Put cams in it, built a motor for her, put a big fairing on it, put a screen. I'm like, how's the stuff? She's like, it's all right. I'm like, is it better or worse than it was before? I don't know. It just rides okay. It's good. She's like, and then, we got buddies that ride Dynas, and they're like, oh, my Dyna wobbles at 80 or 85 or 90 or 95. And she's like, my bike never moves.
How tall is she?
5'5".
5'5", okay. I feel like sometimes the height of some people, depending on the fairing you're running.
I think that plays a big factor. I know it does, because when I had my Dyna, I had a Memphis Shades on there, and I had the tall screen on there. But that bike topped out about 111. But you definitely get some buffeting or some lifting. The bike starts to kind of pick up, and it's not like it's pulling a wheelie. It's just lightens up the front wheel enough to where it starts to get a little imbalance, and then you got to slow down. So you know, I think that's probably what it is for her bike, is that she has that big fairing, so it just pushes a lot of wind, and she's short, so like everything just kind of just goes over her, so she never really has an issue. Sense. I don't know. I just put taller bars on it, so.
What's she rocking now?
So I do some work with Hardcase Performance out of Modesto. And
I didn't know they were up here.
Yeah.
Fuck.
Yeah, they're in Modesto. So they've got a set of pullback risers, and so we'd I talking to Ian, and we were supposed to get a set a few years ago when he was trying to get them ready, and they never kind of really developed. And we got them developed, so now it's all good. Mm-hmm. And so I got her some 9-inch risers, but then she's on a pullback plate because she's so short, and so she always had problems with the reach. Like we were on 7-inch risers, and then I put bars on there, and we had to roll the bars back, and I hated it. I'm like, dude, you look like weird. You're on a freak riding beach bars. Like you don't see the dip in the bar. Like it really bothered me more than it bothered her. She's like, I'm comfortable, I'm fine. I'm like, all right, well, let it go. And then so now we got our taller bars, taller risers, and I put her on the bike. I'm like, how's it feel now? She's like, it's fine. It's like super comfortable because she's got like 3 1/4 inches of pullback.
Yeah.
And I sat on the bike, and I'm like, man, this is super nice. I could ride this thing all day. I go, I'm going to ride your bike to work. I'm not worried about the pink. I'll just put your jacket on. It's pink.
Dude, pink's in, dude.
That's it. It's the thing. Well, it's raspberry is what her color is. It's racing raspberry. So.
What are some things that you've been doing to your bike lately, or like, you know what I mean? Like what's been, have you been pretty stagnant with, not stagnant in a bad way?
I just changed up a few things.
Yeah.
I got rid of a lot of the gold except for the wheels. Uh-huh. So I got polished risers. I polished out I got thrashing floorboards, and they were just the raw aluminum. So I had those polished out, repolished the pipe, polished the swing arm.
Which thrashing boards did you go with? I
have the OG ones, the longer ones, the 14-inch ones.
They're solid though on the top. They don't have all the holes.
Yeah, they're solid deals.
Yeah,
because I haven't put.
I think those look really good. They look they have a nice style to them. I think
I like that they're like super big.
Yeah,
you know, and being on a bagger, so like it's almost like forward, so you got to reach forward.
More space.
But I have them pulled all the way, you know, whatever the furthest back position is, so I can kind of just hang my toes off them and you know, kind of sit in that almost mid control position, but without having the mids. So I mean, I really like them for that, and they're just big, and there's no holes in them because I had some other boards before and they had holes in them, and you get into certain different winds and it would want to push your foot up. So now you're not planted anymore. I don't know. That was always something that happened to me. I don't know if it happens to other people, but right now here you get a bunch of different crosswinds coming through like the 205 and stuff like that. So
the crosswinds are gnarly out here.
Yeah.
You are not lying.
It was gnarly coming out here. I was going to ride my bike tonight. I was like, I'm going to jump on the bike. And then I took off from work, got home, and I was like, and the wind started picking up, and none of the weather really bothers me. Like wind doesn't bother me when I'm riding, none of that stuff. And I'm just like, I don't know. I got to be out on that levee road. Well, coming through on the car, I was kind of getting pushed over, and I was like, yeah, probably a good thing I didn't ride out tonight, just because like it doesn't take much, and you get a semi truck coming the other way, and you get pushed off that levee road, they ain't gonna find you.
There's water right there.
Yeah, there's toolies and all that stuff right there. They just had an accident 2 nights ago where someone died out there.
For real?
They had the whole highway closed off. I heard
they need to get that. They need to fucking I heard one time they were going to make the Highway 4 coming through Stockton. That was just going to be a straight highway across the Delta and connect with Highway 4 that goes through like Pittsburgh and all that shit. But
I'm sure funding and all that stuff has killed all that.
The going through the Delta Road is like that's the way we came in last time. It's like you go the straight 1-lane road, everybody and their moms on it, and then you have these like very narrow bridges that you have to kind of cross and I fucking hate it.
Yeah, that, and it's got a bunch of rollers in it too. Like, you get certain sections, and it's like rolling highway. So you got the up and the down and all that stuff. But
we've actually, man. So today, you know, we woke up in Reno there, and we jumped across and went and had South Lake Tahoe, and then we just did the 50, which I love that because it's fast. Yeah, you know what I mean. Like, I love fast corners, and that highway is always one of those ones where once you kind of get over and out of Tahoe, it's just like long, fast sweepers all the way down into like Folsom and all that shit. You know what I'm saying?
If you're doing that, so coming out of Reno, if you go through Carson, and then come up and take either 88 or Highway 4, that's even better. 88's really nice. It's smooth. There's not a lot of traffic on there. And
4's the Sonoma one, right?
Sonora,
sorry. Yeah, that's the one we came in across.
It'll drop you there. But if you take 88, 88's really nice.
I haven't ridden 88, but I've driven it. Yeah, but it's like I heard
that's really nice. It's got fast corners. So I mean, you can get ripping through there.
what I do, man, as soon as we kind of crossed over into back into California from Nevada, dude, everywhere is like those, one lane, because all the slides, I guess, they've been fucking up roads everywhere. So there's like one lane. When we left Tahoe, I swear it was like 2 miles long for one of those like flaggers.
Yeah.
And I thought
he was fucking with this. This motherfucker was going just slow enough that you could barely go as slow as you can go. I mean, it was infuriating. I thought he was fucking with this.
So we passed all this traffic. We just kind of like skipped all the way to the front. And at first, when I started like kind of splitting to the front, I was like, God damn, like it's like 2 miles of a line for a flagger. So we get to the front. There's another bagger up there.
You're right. It was insane how far people were just stopped.
Yeah.
And when we got to the front of it, it was so long waiting. I couldn't help but think, God, imagine if you're just pulling to the back of this now.
Yeah.
Like, I hope you have an hour and a half on your
to get through this like fucking quarter mile spot. And then it was one of those ones where you have to follow the driver, pilot truck, And this motherfucker, like, we could have just stayed there until all the trucks left, but they opened the cones up. We were in the front, and then he starts going, and then he goes like 5 miles an hour, and it's like on a fucking banked hill.
No, it was a little slower, dude. It was like literally slow race. I'm pretty decent at once you get moving that I can slow back down to a chrono. I'm not but I can do it. And this was like slow race shit, like barely able to move.
Yeah,
and like you said, the bank, and it was.
What's the lowest you'll go? 2 miles an hour. Anything else, I'll tip over.
Yeah, exactly. And so, I mean, it got to a point where I was like, man, like, how about we just stop? And then when they're done,
I was thinking the same thing.
Then we can go, because what it was, I guess they were grinding, taking a layer off the road and then coming back behind it and putting it back down. So there was all these trucks they had
like
rocks
all in the same trip.
Yeah, like in one lane. So there was one lane open, but. Then they had another truck that was in front that was like sweeping all the rocks off the road.
Oh yeah.
It was fucking miserable. You know what I mean?
We're just not used to mountain construction like that.
Yeah, we're not.
Yeah, I don't think they are either. That's why it's taking so long.
But yeah, it was kind of miserable. But yeah, but the good thing is though, after that long ass wait, on the other side of it, we were in the front of what was barely any traffic all the way till we got into till it got busy, like around what. Placerville or I don't know how to say it. Placerville, yeah. And then you start seeing more traffic on the road. But I'm splitting all fucking day.
There was a while where it was
Vasco Pass from.
Oh yeah,
dude, we ran the fucking shoulder from the moment we got off the highway all the way till we turned on Camino Diablo or wherever the fuck it is.
Yeah, Camino Diablo. I used to commute that highway. Before they put all the K rails up and all the barriers and stuff like that, people die there every day.
For real?
Yeah, it was crazy.
You talk about the thing we did this last little stretch from Marlin. Yeah. You talk about wind riding that shoulder, and all of a sudden, I had one where I had a.
You were standing up, and I remember looking back because the wind hit me, and you were standing up on the bike, and I looked back, and I was like, I'm not even gonna watch.
Yeah, not even that one. There was another one, that butthole pucker moment, like you said, tight shoulder, and there was nothing off to the side, and I got a big thing where it had pushed. I mean, it was.
Yeah, you're gone. Yeah,
but yeah, that's what's. I've also ridden that other one. Like, say, if you were to take. Like I guess Camino Diablo, like, but go towards like Walnut Creek and everything.
Oh yeah, that's
I've had some fun times on that road too. It's like way more.
I know the road. I can't think of the name.
A lot more neighborhoods. It's not something you're gonna rip too fast, but it's very windy as fuck all the way into.
Yeah, that's the road where you don't want to get stuck there because there's no service from one end to the other. I can't remember the name of it.
Yeah.
But I used to commute that way too. When I worked in Walnut Creek, it was like, it's fast if there's nobody there, but if there's a car in front of you, like you're not passing.
Yeah,
you're
it's
just
too
stuck
tight
behind them. Uh-huh. Yeah.
It's what I love about
Morgan Territory Road.
Is that what it is?
Morgan Territory Road, yeah.
Every time we come out of like any of the mountains, like I always look for Mount Diablo. Because like I said, I've spent so much of my NorCal. Like this is the area that I'd always be in.
Yeah.
Like Disco Bay, Antioch, Rio Vista, Stockton, Byron, Tracy, Mountain House. Like this is the area that I'd always be up here working, right?
Yeah.
And so that mountain, like everywhere you're at, like you can see, like okay, we're close, because it's like a
beacon.
A beacon, yeah. And it lets me know, okay, all right, I can see the mountain now, so it's getting closer to, you know what I mean? Like when you're in Sac and you can see it, I'm like, fuck, okay, it's not too far. What's up, guys? I need to drop in real quick and give a big thank you and shout out to thundermax EFI for helping me make this podcast trip possible. I just got home from a 28-day, 7,200-mile bike trip where I at least filled up my gas tank once a day. My 131 was humming through the desert, mountains, forests, and even plenty of rain. The thundermax ECM kept my bike running and operating like a champ. With its auto-tuning technology, the elevation, humidity, and temperature changes never affected my bike's performance. Their ECMs are a must for anyone looking to add all the Go Fast goodies to your EFI-equipped Harley Davidson. My Road Glide is paired with the thundermax cooling fan, which is available for the touring M8 models. Lane splitting in California's traffic and heat gets the motor oil hot, but with the fan, I was able to keep my bike's temps in the safe zone. Check out all these amazing products at shoptmax.com, and when you're ready to make the upgrade, use FASTLIFE at checkout to save yourself 10%. Now let's get back to the show.
Yeah, I spent 20 years, I lived out here.
For real?
Yeah, Bay Point, Antioch, Oakley.
So you kind of lived up in that area, like on the 4 over there?
Yeah, I lived on the 4. I grew up mostly in Bay Point and Pittsburgh, and then bought my first house in Oakley.
Yeah.
And then lived out there for like 4 years, and then moved back to Bay Point, and then moved to and then bought a house in Antioch and lived in Antioch for a while. But I always worked or commuted over to Concord or Walnut Creek for work and stuff like that. And
when I first came here, so the weird thing is, like, when I came to, the guy that has this house is the guy that originally brought me out here to paint. And the weirdest thing, right, because I'm painting a bike for this guy that lives in Antioch, but his buddy worked for him, but had a house across the street from him, but it was just him and his wife in a 4-bedroom house. So he put me up in his buddy's house across the street that had nothing to do with the bike. So me and my wife were just staying in somebody's house, just some randos, right?
Yeah.
And
the original Airbnb.
Yeah, the OG. And I threw up in their house one night. Got fucked up. But when I got here, I was like, all right, so where's Antioch at?
Oh, they let you have it, huh?
I didn't fucking know how to, like, pronounce it, so I just called it Antioch.
I think everybody just calls it the Yock.
The Yock?
Yeah.
I didn't know.
I think there's a whole Instagram page about Yock. The Yock.
That's where we were just, where we had Chili's earlier.
Yeah.
It's like right on the edge of like Antioch and I guess Brentwood.
Oh yeah, you guys were right on here.
We're like Lone Tree Way
Yeah.
type shit. So, but yeah, I mean, fuck, dude. Like I said, my whole NorCal paint career has been in this little sliver right here, you know, in Stockton, you know. But I can't find any good taco trucks right now. I need to find some.
Okay, so I got you.
All right,
Taqueria El Azteca in Stockton. Just take the.
I want to go back to Stockton. Is there something like?
No, this is the spot you want to go to. Yeah, it's a burrito truck. It's over near Jessup's shop.
Okay,
I'll send you the
2 best taco trucks I've ever had have been close to Jessup's old shop, you know, or Jessup's shop, right?
Yeah.
Wilson Way and like
this one's on like Wilson
Alpine,
like, something like that. This is like you just pull up. There's a taco truck in the parking lot, and there's a little ice cream store right next door. Like you can go in and get some ice cream when you're done. But they got the burrito tacos, so they've got like the sauce and all that stuff. It's the best place,
dude.
That's the best place. It's 15 minutes up the road. I almost stopped on the way here, but I was already running. I was running a little behind. You're like, 8:15. I'm like, that's perfect, man, because I'm not gonna get there till about 8:20, and I hate being late. But the dog didn't want me to leave, so
there used to be a good spot on the Delta Pass or whatever the fuck it's called 4 right there. There used to be a little spot, like one of those little pull off.
There's a little bar right there, right on the water.
Yeah, I think
I just drove past it. I think it looks like it's shut down. Like there's nothing going on over there.
I don't know.
It's a little blue building right on the water, right next to the bridge.
Well, yeah, that's a different one. This one looks like it's just like a little convenience store that has like a little wooden like ramp to walk up into it. And I had tacos there once. I think they were pretty good, but the best ones I've ever had in my life have been out of Stockton, straight up.
Yeah.
So, but then it was like the taco truck. Last time I heard that the best one I ever had, it was this dude that was right by the shop we were working out of. And then he kept getting DWIs because while he was cooking all day, he was drinking.
Oh, yeah.
Because it's like his.
What else are you going to do, right?
Yeah, he's just fucking slinging tacos all day. And
I ain't mad at him.
Yeah, it's like, dude, let him have it,
Let
dude.
the man live. He's out here performing a public service.
Right? Now he's doing community service.
See that alley-oop?
Poor guy.
Yeah.
We got some rapport going on over here. What's I know, so you've done Durango. What's the since you like you guys are about traveling too, What's the one event you haven't been to, the big event that you want to go to?
I'd love to go to Daytona. That'd be cool.
Wrong answer. It's the Fast Life camp out in Moyers, Oklahoma.
It's a Fast Life camp out in Moyers, Oklahoma.
No, but
And probably Laconia Bike Week.
yeah, I want to go to Laconia. I haven't been to that either.
I mean, if I could go to one event, I think that's it. Like, everybody says that Sturgis is kind of like a circus and like a carnival. I still want to go. I still haven't been to Sturgis. I just...
Go to cross it off the list for sure.
Yeah. I mean...
And the riding's good, but...
I work like 6-7 days a week, so it's hard for me to take like 2 or 3 weeks off. And if I was going to go to Sturgis, I'd want to take that time off so I can hit all the states on the way there, you know, and go through everything and check it all out. Not just take like a fast route, take the long route.
Yeah.
And just kind of just...
And if you're going to do that, I would plan your trip to where you're getting all the riding done early and you're just touching Sturgis. Like it officially opens on a Friday.
Yeah.
But everything's set up like Tuesday, Monday of that week, so you can get in before it turns into a carnival.
Oh, yeah.
And get actually decent riding through Deadwood and all the Rushmore, all the cool stuff you got to go do. Without it being, because once it does start, then it's a circus. Everything, not downtown, the riding, everything.
Yeah. It's still like it's the mecca of motorcycling though. When you're there, like, you know, you have Sturgis that's filled, but like everywhere you go for 200-mile radius, it feels like you're still in a fucking motorcycle world. That people want you there. They're happy you're there.
Right.
Obviously, Jaden has been to Daytona twice since the last time I went, and from what I understand now, it's a lot more now that I guess the younger culture's there, like the Willies, the fucking Dynas, and you know, performance baggers are out there ripping and having fun. That it's kind of starting to kind of change a little bit and become more palatable for, I guess, our generation, if you will. But he can speak on that more than I can. So
yeah, we talked about it before. I think Daytona is way bigger for the dudes on the East Coast. They just get so locked in, like you said earlier, with winter. That I think they have blue balls, and that's just the first thing they can actually get to. That's kind of close, and they let their hair down, and rightfully so. But Daytona's a blast too. I had a great time.
It's not a riding blast, but it's a good.
Yeah, exactly.
No, it's fun to be. It's a good party thing.
Sturgis, I would say, don't ride. Even if you have a trailer, have a bike there. Having a car sucks. Daytona's the opposite. You don't really need a bike there to have a good time. You can be in a car, not riding at all, and still
probably have more fun. Because it's either cold as shit, raining, or hot as fuck.
But you'll
we're good in all that. We got all that coming back from Colorado.
If you like Four Corners, like I said, I haven't been to Laconia, but we've been to New Hampshire. What were we like?
We rode through. Rode through Laconia a week before it happened.
Oh, okay. Good planning.
The riding up there is sick, dude. Vermont, New Hampshire. There's a bunch of great riding.
It's fucking beautiful.
Yeah, they got some. I think there's some nice highways up there.
Our trip last year, we were trying to make it to Mark from Lexington, his house, because we were originally supposed to be in. I don't know. We weren't going to be in the wedding, but we were there to crash the wedding. That's the whole thing.
Right.
Like, all the guys coming on the trip, we going to his house.
Yeah, in a perfect world, we're going to crash the reception.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Nobody wants to go to a wedding. It's all about the reception. That's the party for the people that showed up.
Yeah.
I mean, you know.
So we ended up, but we couldn't pull off the trip we wanted to do because we were also trying to hit our buddy from Rebels Den, which is in Little Rock. His anniversary party was on the 13th, I believe. Not the 13th, like the
14th or something like that. It just happened.
Just time.
So we had to fit like day 3 at Mark's for his wedding, and then we had to fit pretty much the end of our trip by this day to be at his event. So we made it work, but you know we couldn't. If we would have tried to do Laconia, it would have had to be. We wouldn't have made one or the other. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, but
you guys choose your battles.
Yeah. I want to go back though. It's fucking beautiful up there, man.
Yeah.
It really is.
In the summertime.
Maybe we could link up one time and go to Laconia, meet up somewhere on the way, roll together.
We'll meet you guys in Oklahoma at the camp out, and then we'll go from there.
Perfect. He's catching on. Quick learner.
Yeah, the camp out, man, it's growing, it's good, but you know, there's like did you go do that Live Fast rally that just took place?
I did, yeah.
How was that?
It's okay. So, I mean, it's all about the ride. Like, we left Saturday morning early. People came to the house. So my buddy Joe and his girl Margie, and then my buddy Jason, and then Casey. We all met at my house and then jammed down there. We went last year. It was cool. I wanted to go for the first one, and something happened, and we weren't able to make it, and then we didn't make it the second one, so we made it the third and fourth. But it's a cool ride. Solving's a cool little town to stay in. It's a little Dutch town, so it was nice to just finally be able to go ride, because that was her first ride. We literally got her bike together like Thursday, Friday. And then so Saturday morning, I'm like, all right, cool. Well, we got about 40 miles of braking on your bike, so let's go.
Let's go.
And it's fearless. Jump on the bike, let's go. Like she didn't care. She's like, all right, cool. I'm like, all right, let's go. Jumps on the freeway. She's letting it eat. I'm like, all right, I just follow her. So everybody follows us. So when we go ride, we don't have the fastest bikes, but like I just follow her. As long as I stay behind her or next to her, like I'm good, and I can talk to her through the Lexan. So it's all. It's cool. If I couldn't talk to her, I wouldn't let her ride. Not let her ride. I would freak out riding with her. She's going to ride no matter what. Yeah. I forgot to charge my deal, and we've lost communication, stuff like that, and she just lets it hang, and she's out there just ripping, and she knows what she's doing. So
the because I've seen the rally, and then there's the other. What do you ever do the Kernville one or? No,
I haven't. We haven't done Kern. I think that's more like a camp out or something.
Yeah, I believe so. And you got to buy a ticket to go to that or some shit.
I don't know.
It's kind of weird.
I've kind of touched on this before. Like when I go camping, I need a lot of things.
I
need a shower. I need a shower and I need a bathroom. That's what I need.
Most campsites have that.
I don't know. And then Ivy likes to cook, so when we go camping, we have a car full of stuff. Usually is how we do it. So like we kind of look awkward trying to pack a camp stove and some lanterns, a bunch of tents. And all this stuff. So I don't know. We haven't really done much of the bike camping stuff, but I mean, I'm not opposed to it. Like it's just we need a lot of stuff. I think it'd be better if we had adventure bikes. And nothing against a Harley.
Yeah.
I just want to go out. Like you want to go out camping somewhere. Like if you're set up at a campground or something like that, or like a site where it's paved and all that to get in. Like I mean, there's nothing wrong with that, but. For a bike, that's cool. But I think if we had adventure bikes, that'd be a little bit better, because then you can go a little bit further out and a little distance. But I don't know. I mean, it's cool either way, I guess.
Doing camping that's like more like off the grid, kind of primitive type stuff would be dope. But I think I'm a little bit too much of a city boy for that. To be honest with you.
I'm the same way. So like if I have to pick one or the other, so if I have to limit what I'm taking, then then okay, cool, let's go do like. Where there's amenities and all that stuff. If I don't have to limit where I'm taking, then like we can go a little bit further out.
For us, I guess for us being close to our camp out, it's easy because our wives do drive up to it and bring.
See, I need to have somebody follow us, because my wife won't. If I'm riding on a bike, I'd be driving the car and she'd be on the bike, so I'd have to follow her. That's how that works. So.
But like I said, I saw the Live Fast rally just took place. I didn't really know, like much about it. Like I follow it, and I see the content being put out, but I just didn't know what the more or less premise was. It like was it a show? Was it?
Yeah, they have a show. They got a bunch of booths. They have bands out there and stuff like that. So like it's cool. Like it's a cool chill event, because you got a bunch of different things going on.
Yeah,
you got a little band action, and so you got the music. Then they do the bike show and. All the vendors, and it's just one of those deals where it's like you go see all the people that you see, primarily at shows, or you can get down to see them once in a while, and you can't see everybody. Like in a weekend trip to SoCal or something like that, like you're only going to see one or two people. Now you can see 10 or 20 people.
Yeah, so it's like another version of Born Free, kind of where there's
it's just a smaller version, but it's getting bigger every year. So like I feel like at some point down the road, it's going to be it'll get to the size of like a Born Free or pretty close to. And maybe that's their goal to do it, but like the people that throw it are really cool people, and it's a good event, and they're local to that area. I think one of the main guys, I think his dad owns a bakery in Solvang that sells like the Dutch pastries and all that stuff. Yeah. So then they have access to the area, and they know a lot of people, so they're able to throw on the event. It's pretty cool.
It's kind of like out there by like Santa Barbara and all that shit, right?
I think it's like an hour north of Santa Barbara.
Okay.
So like it's down
more like towards Pismo and all that shit.
I think it's south of Pismo, north of Santa Barbara. It's kind of like in between the two.
Yeah. I can find it.
So, But it's a cool event. It's it's like all bike shows.
What about do they still do Hollister up here and all that stuff? Have you
actually? You know what? I just thought about that the other day because they're supposed to be on their 50-something anniversary. Hollister, I think the big rally, was shut down because of COVID.
Yeah,
and then somebody else was taking it over, and they were supposed to do something downtown. But Corbin they'll do their event. So Corbin will have their own private little event on their property and stuff like that. So I think they're coming up on their 50-something year, 53 year.
Have you ever heard about Hollister and the whole concept behind it? So
I thought you were talking about the knockoff Abercrombie brand.
No, this is actually like a town.
So do you know a lot about the Hollister thing? You can explain some of it.
I don't know much of the history of it. I've been out there a few times.
I want to say it was the Booze Fighters thing back in the day. It was a.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I think I've heard of it. I mean, go ahead, explain.
I don't have much.
I've heard the name. It sounds familiar.
Yeah, but it's a big motorcycle town, I believe. It's known for that.
Yeah, they usually shut down the downtown. The first year that I went, they had the whole downtown shut down. So you're parking in the middle of the street and all that stuff, and they closed the roads off to just.
I feel bad. I feel like if I brought it up, I should have had a little bit more knowledge to throw back on it. And I was hey, there's this thing that goes there.
Yeah, well, I don't think they're really doing too much with it. I haven't heard much about it, but it usually happens right around, I think, July.
Do y'all still do street vibes and stuff like that a lot? Or
I think they just had that. They had that the same weekend as the Los Alamos deal, the Live Fast rally. So we had already planned to go down there, and then.
I always thought Street Vibes was in September or something like that.
So they have a fall one, which is the big one. Okay. The September one is the big one. The one that you guys, or the one that they just had, is a smaller event, but Virginia City is where it's cracking, which I think is where you guys were at just the other day.
Yeah, dude, that place is dope.
Yeah, they shut all that down, and that's all just bikes all day. It's big in the fall. It's not as big in the.
Well, I know they're having
spring.
that Virginia City Roundup thing. It's more of like a chopper and FXR show.
Yeah, they're doing that
badass.
at the end of August, which I think is right about the same time that we're going to be taking off to go to Colorado.
Yeah,
I think it's the weekend before Four Corners.
Yeah, so that's what it also sucks for us too, because you got Four Corners that weekend, you got Virginia City Roundup close to that, or all three of that. But then you also have the hometown rally in Milwaukee, which is also where the Bagger Racing League is going to have the next event.
Yeah.
So it's a lot of us are going to Milwaukee. I want to support all the homies that are doing the Virginia City Roundup. And I haven't done Four Corners yet. Not because I don't want to, but I don't know. It's always been so close.
If it's on a weekend where there's nothing else going on, like you said, you got to be in Milwaukee that weekend or whatever, then that's different. But if you have the opportunity to go, that's
Four Corners is
that's an awesome event.
It's Four Corners for us is a 800-mile ride.
Oh, you can do that in a day
easily. Well, I mean, we kind of did when we left here.
Yeah.
So it's or when we left Texas. So yeah, I don't know. It'd be easy, but I don't know, man. I don't know why we haven't really ever done. Maybe it's. I don't know. I've always felt like the event is always heavily promoted with California brands.
Yeah.
And I don't know, maybe if they reached out to more of us and asked us to be a part of that event as well and not just spectators, we would probably go to it.
Yeah.
It's maybe entitlement is what I'm talking about, but I don't know.
It's possibly, but yeah, I mean, it does have a heavy California influence,
which I expect, but at the same time, I don't know. It's close to us, so
yeah. Now it's so John Oakes was running the event, and now I think Trevor, from what I heard, is Trevor Bird, the owner of Durango Harley, is kind of taking over on it for now, and so I don't know how the influence is. I just know that we are.
Yeah. The phones they make the.
Oh, we'll be there for that. We didn't make it last year because we had the bike failure. It happened. We were supposed to go to Born Free. Then go down to Lake Havasu where Ivy's parents live, stay there for a day or so, and then jam over to Four Corners.
Yeah.
And her bike crapped out on the way, and so we didn't end up making it. We did make it to Havasu though, and hung out with her parents for a few days.
Havasu is a good fucking time.
Yeah, it's always. I didn't
know it was such a party city, dude.
Yeah. Well, my in-laws live there, right? So we go down there just to party with the in-laws. It's shooting guns, going to riding razors, and going on boats.
Well, they have that little downtown district, I guess, with all the bars on it and shit.
Yeah, we did all that too. Yeah, it's a good time.
It's wild.
Quick correction for all the dudes that were just punching their dashboards a few minutes ago when we were talking about Hollister. Of course, I knew what it was. That's it kind of gave rise to the outlaw biker movement. It was a rally Happened in early July 1947. It was more attended than expected. A few dudes caused a commotion, and that's where they ran the picture. They sensationalized it in the news and the media, and they ran that picture of the drunken guy on the bike with all the beer bottles around him. That everybody's seen this picture.
Yeah.
That's what most of the national media ran with, and to kind of, put a stigma on it, and it kind of backfired. And like I said, that led to, and again, a lot more to it, but that's what it was. It was a rally that the media termed the Hollister riot because, like I said, a couple dudes, there's probably a fight or something, little bitty stuff. But
I've read that now once before, but it's been a while, and I've slept since then, so I kind of forget. I got CRS, can't remember shit.
Anyways, because I know there's some dudes going that when we said that they were going, "Ah!"
Explain it to me, motherfucker.
Yeah. Or just like they knew the story and they're going,
"You're." Everybody in Hollister right now is in an uproar, and they started another riot. There's a guy on a motorcycle right now with beer bottles around him, just pissed.
Oh man.
So.
Yeah, I don't know, man. Have you seen all the shit like on the news with like Yellowstone and all that stuff?
Yeah, I just saw that. Like,
wild.
Tons of flooding, but we got global warming going on, and none of that water will come to California. So like, we'll be in a drought again for year 472. I don't know.
Dude, it's pretty wild because we were actually in Missoula, I think, when we first saw that over there in Montana, and I saw, like, I was on Instagram and I saw like a reel from some account that I follow, and it was like some kind of like drone kind of going over and looking at it, and it looked unreal. You know what I mean?
Yeah, there's just so much water, and the roadways are all washed out.
Fucking like tore them off. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's wild, but it sucks because right now is kind of when people really start to go to Yellowstone because.
Right.
It's still fucking cold as shit up there and there's snow everywhere.
Well, they had fires. I don't know how. It's been a few years, but they had a huge fire there. So like that burned down a lot of the park. Like I want to say it's within like 10 or 15 years ago, and I don't know.
Well,
I just remember hearing about it. Now you have flooding now that's taking out the park.
Last year it was Idaho. There was fires in Idaho and Montana because when we left Sturgis, you could see the clouds just like fucking just the smoke clouds and shit like that.
Yeah.
2020, we actually rode through Yellowstone, and it was, no, you didn't make it. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
He stayed in Cody, Wyoming. He got lost, but we did a Yellowstone trip and we camped out there and shit like that, and it was dope. Some of the things were underwhelming, like Old Faithful. It's like
we missed that going through. We saw the pools and stuff like that.
Yeah, those
and then
are cool.
We were going through and like. To go to Old Faithful, you had to go like up the road, and they kind of had people stop there, and we were like, all right, well, do we want to go up there or not go up there? And like we're like, oh, we'll just go past. So we'll like Jerry and Roji and those guys, I think they were behind us, or no, they were in front of us, and they were like, dude, we pulled up, like we literally got off the bikes, and it was going right as we pulled up.
Yeah,
it was awesome, and I was like, so we got to see it, and then we just took off, and I was like, oh yeah, we were down at the gas station down the road, here,
exactly,
like filling up. So
I thought that the Grand Tetons was way more fun to look at, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
I just thought it's a badass landscape, and the mountains look cool as shit, and there's like great vistas on the main road that goes into like Jackson Hole and shit like that.
Yeah, we went through the Grand Tetons. We stopped at the Harley dealer there and stuff like that. Like all of that is like just amazing because it's all big countries. So you're out there and you're like, man, we are not in California anymore. Like this is pretty awesome out here.
Yeah,
So
dude, Idaho for us, we've been talking about it. Idaho was probably the most amazing riding that I feel like I've ever seen.
Yeah,
the worst weather, but still the best.
Yeah,
best riding.
We did it all in rain, but
cold rain too. The kind of rain where it would rain for a while, and then it would stop, and just about the time your shoes are dry and you're starting to get a little bit, here comes a little bit more.
Yeah,
there's another 45 minutes of it, but it's beautiful. I wouldn't trade it. It was awesome.
Yeah,
perfect. Yeah, we didn't have any of that going through, but we also went through like in August. So
yeah, that's the time to do it. I think for sure. We didn't get to do as much of the coast of Oregon as we had wanted to because there was a big ass storm coming in.
Yeah,
and we got caught in it.
Or any of Washington.
Yeah, we really just skirted we ran almost the entire southern border of Washington and Oregon because there's that road that crosses. There's a highway on each side of the river that separates Oregon and Washington, and we were on the Washington side. It was pretty badass. It was nice, super nice. We went to the what's the thing in Europe or in London?
Oh, yeah, the Space Needle?
No. Stonehenge. There's a Stonehenge that's like a reproduction of it, obviously, but it's for that county did it in 1929. for all the soldiers that were in that county that died. So each
Oh wow! So each one is a memorial to.
it was pretty badass.
For World War One.
We like walked up to it, like, oh shit, how was this 80s maybe? It's like 1929 they made that shit.
Wow.
It's like, fuck, that's pretty badass.
That road you're talking about, I forget the name of it, but that runs the Oregon-Washington border. There's a real famous waterfall because that was the day Kyle and I stopped in Portland to have lunch.
The Multnomah Falls?
Yes.
Yeah, we've been there.
That's badass.
And you have to stay on the Oregon side to see that, but then you can cross over to the Bridge of the Gods. That's the way Kyle and I did it because we had stopped and had lunch with a couple people in Portland. Y'all were already at Bruce's, and I think y'all were on the Washington side the whole way, which you can go right across.
No, we did Oregon side all the way to right when you cross into White Sand.
Oh, that's okay. That's what it was. Yeah. We crossed over into Washington on the Bridge of the Gods right after that. The falls you just
those
named.
falls were badass. We saw it, but it was like also pouring rain, so we were like fucking trying to.
The Washington side
we were there in thigh deep snow.
What?
A few years ago, because we go the last 4 years we've gone up for the One Moto show.
Oh,
2018 my bike was invited to the show, so I had the bike there, so we went up there and it was snowing and all kinds of shit, so like, you know, it was crazy. So Casey wanted to go to the falls because he wanted to take photos.
Mm-hmm.
So we're like, all right, cool, let's go. And then so we go and it started snowing and all that stuff, and then I think he went back the next day and was like, it was crazy, like there was the amount of snow and all the stuff that was going on up there. We're cruising from the flat track races back to the hotel, and I'm rolling down the highway. I'm in a transit van, nothing in the back, and we're rolling down the highway, and all of a sudden, I'm just skating.
Yeah.
And this thing's floating. I'm like, what's going on? Like
on the truck or in the bike?
No, I had a transit van.
Okay, yeah.
So we were just rolling down the highway at 80, and all of a sudden, the thing is just skating. Uh-huh. And I look across the highway, and everybody's going like 5 miles an hour, and I'm like, I think we just hit black ice. I think the road's iced over. Yeah. I've never driven in like weather like that. I'm from California. Been here my whole life. And I was like, okay, so what do I do? And I was like, all right, well, I'm just going to back off the gas. I'm not hitting the brakes, so I'm just going to back off the gas and start slowing down. And it took a while because, you know, we're just skating along. You're not even, you're just sliding you're pretty much just kind of almost sliding. And then there's like semis are coming up and they're just hauling ass. And I'm like, do you not realize that there's ice on the road right now and these guys are passing? I'm like, I'm just gonna get over here in this slow lane. So like finally made our way for probably like 30 or 40 minutes of just 15 miles an hour down the highway, because you look over and there's people sliding off the road on the other side, and everybody's going slow, and I was just like, okay.
The worst thing to have in any kind of ice is always a rear-wheel drive car.
Or a high top transit van with nothing in the back, no weight on the axles or anything. Yeah. And then, there's nothing.
Last year we had what Dallas dubbed as Snowmageddon, because we had a storm last year that lasted roughly a week, or a week and a half ish, where we had almost 7 days of below freezing temperatures, and we never get that in Texas. Yeah. Like at least not
global warming.
Dallas and
it's happening.
It's fucking happening, dude.
Yeah,
2020.
Was it 2020 or 2021? It was 2021 because 2020 was
not
COVID.
this February. Yeah.
So last year, like I said, it was and that's when we had our power grid failures. But I've lived in Dallas my whole life, and we've never had that kind of snow before. It's usually like the storm comes in, it rains or snows for like a day, and then you hope it sticks so the next day you can go play in it, right? But usually it doesn't stick. Every once in a while you might get 3 days of snow, one good day of snow, and then it stays around for 2 more days, and you can make snowmans and fucking do snow angels and shit like that. This shit was like, it was cold, it was freezing, and every day it never would get above freezing, and then every night it would go down to like the teens, if not, below zero.
Not a snow chain in sight, huh?
No, we don't have any of that shit.
Nobody's got. You're like, hold up. You guys got cables chained?
We don't have nothing. We don't have plows. We don't have none of that shit. And then I feel like they don't even fucking salt the roads anymore like they used, or sand the roads like they used to as much as.
They probably didn't have any. It ran out.
It felt like it was the most unanimous. Everything just shut down. Because if you don't have to go to the store to get it, stay home. Don't fuck with it.
Oh, that's how I am now when the weather's good. We got an app. I just put in a Target order and go pick it up. They drop stuff off at the house. I don't have to go anywhere. It's a mile from my house.
Yeah. I still like to shop though. I like the feeling of like walking and go, oh fuck yeah, they got one.
I do too. I
don't like people. Like, especially since the whole COVID thing, everybody's got some sort of problem. You wear a mask, they don't like you. You don't wear a mask, they don't like you. So like, I'd go to the store and I'm like, I'm not gonna wear a mask, and I'd look around. All I need is one other person not wearing a mask. He ain't wearing one, I ain't wearing one. Let's go. But we're like a mile from Target, Walmart, the pizza joint, gas station, 7-Eleven. Everything's right there. So like, we don't have to go very far to get any of that stuff. Yeah. So, and then Walmart will drop off. Target will let you do curbside pickup. So we just order everything on the app. Let them go pull all the items. Then you don't have to walk in the store.
Yeah, we went to Chili's and there's like 10 fucking spots for fucking curbside. Get the fuck out. Nobody's eating that this bad, you know what I mean?
Right, yeah.
So we just parked there and like, fuck them.
Yeah. I just pretend like I don't see any of those signs.
Yeah,
like, I didn't know that was 15-minute parking.
Curbside parking and expecting mother parking are two signs that I 1,000% ignore, and I park it. Actually, when I see either one of those, my brain just changes it to Jaden's personal parking spot, and I make sure to park.
What if you're
there.
picking up for expecting mothers? They won't know.
If you're that, well, even if they did, if you're that expecting, stay the fuck home. If you're that pregnant that you need a spot closer to the door, then stay the fuck home or send somebody else for it.
Especially if you're pregnant, you need to walk more anyway. The baby's got to drop.
My man.
I don't know.
The real flex is to take one of the police spots that they have at like the Walmart or the Target,
right?
Where the cop gets a spot and just so when he can come apprehend the shoplifter,
right? Yeah.
It's fuck, dude.
What are you gonna do, bro? You're going to apprehend a freaking shoplifter. You're gonna write me a ticket first?
You don't park here anyway. Everybody knows you park at the very front of the store.
You're just gonna pull up on the curb anyway.
Exactly.
That's it. You're gonna park in the fire zone. Yep. Then there's going to be a fire. Then they're going to hit your car and push it out of the way. I don't know.
Fucking nerds.
We went somewhere. We went to the Mexican spot in Livermore last week that we like to go to, and there was no parking in the whole parking lot. But this little tiny shopping center, none of the people that parked there were going to any of the businesses in that area. Yeah. They were probably all going across the street to the movie theater. Yeah. So we parked in a 15-minute parking, and I was like, I'll just keep an eye out if somebody comes and says anything because it's Livermore, and the cops have nothing better to do over there, so they'll just write you a ticket. I'm like, hey, I thought it was 15 minutes per bike. We're only here for 30 minutes. What do you want me to do? I don't know. We were okay though, but it's like there's nowhere else to park. Why don't you tell all these other people that are not in this restaurant, because there was 4 people in the whole restaurant, and 17 cars in the parking lot.
I feel like bike parking should be just like, if you got a sidewalk, just we'll take that. Yeah,
I don't mind parking on the sidewalk, but also I don't want to be that guy that's like, somebody walks by and their shirt catches your bars, and now your bike's on the ground, and they just kept walking, because I would, if I didn't ride, I would probably do that to somebody.
I wouldn't park on a fucking like 3-foot wide sidewalk, but like if you have like most of these restaurants these nowadays, or these places have, a good 10 fucking 15 feet. Yeah. And it's like there's so many like the fucking handicap unload zone is usually fucking like a goddamn basketball court. So let me just park there.
Right. Yeah.
I don't know. I just feel like I'd rather just park in some areas. I figured we were in Missoula, remember? And there's nobody anywhere in this fucking town, and we park a block away on our bikes to find a fucking like on the road parking. I'm like, dude, let's just mob the fucking curb over here. Let's chill in the alley. It's not like they're getting a delivery.
That's how I feel about Boise.
Boise
was real. I don't know if woke is the right word, but
so we went to a fucking parking garage in Boise that's like it's free for like the first hour.
Yeah, which is all we needed. We were having lunch and dipping out.
Right. Some lady chased us down and says motorcycles aren't allowed in here. And we're like, well, why? She goes, well, because you guys can just go around the arms. I'm like, well, it's free for an hour, and we're just going to eat real quick. We'll be gone before the hour's up.
Right. I think she was saying that it doesn't always pick up, so there was like a liability if the thing came down on somebody. I think that's more.
Calm down, Karen.
Exactly.
Yeah.
She's like, well, you can go down to, there's another parking garage over there that you can park in. It's like,
she spent an hour lecturing you guys. You're like, we would have been gone by now if you just let us go.
Yeah. I was hoping.
Was she the parking police or something? Did she have a badge?
No, she was the part. She was what do they call it? What's the Friday
like an
thing?
Attendant. Yeah, she was just like a parking attendant.
Oh, so she worked there.
Yeah.
Yeah, she was a parking attendant. Yeah, she wasn't like just some rando that was like.
But again, it was a free parking garage, so I don't really know what she was doing there. And if there wouldn't have been some homeless guy that walked out in front of Chance and like cussed us all out, Chance was seeing red by the time we parked. Otherwise, he probably just would have paid her off and given her $40. And
How
said,
much
hey,
did fucking go
sweetheart,
away?
we'll be out of here in an hour. Don't worry about
Yeah.
it.
What's it cost for the hour? We'll just pay it now.
What is that? Top flight security of the world, Craig. That's what she was
For
acting
real,
like.
huh? She's acting real brand new today.
I gotta go pee real quick. I have a small bladder. I'm a little bitch when it comes to that.
You got 3 cans right there. Fill one up.
You had that looker as soon as you said that, like, no, I kind of got to pee too.
No, I'm good. Like, usually that's me. Like, I'd have been 14 trips to the restroom or something like that.
Yeah, we had a couple glasses of tea at dinner. Wild guys, I know. But I know sometimes tea, and then you drink something like this, and next thing you know.
Yeah.
So you got anything fun coming up this year? I know you said traveling, you work a lot, so it's tough, but you got anything on the horizon you're looking forward to?
Born Free, Four Corners, and
You're in for Four Corners again this year?
yeah, we've already got rooms and all that stuff. And
Oh, yeah.
I think that's pretty much about it. It's just hitting those 2 events are the main things, and then just whatever local
Then
pops
your local-
up, and
yeah.
doing a bunch of local riding and hanging out with the guys out here. I mean, I live like an hour and a half from Yosemite, so we can go all the back roads that lead up into there are just awesome to ride. So
Yeah.
we can just go crush mountains all day, and it's it's a good riding.
Pretty familiar with them too now?
Somewhat, but some of the roads we haven't really, done a bunch of riding on. So it'd be cool to go hit a bunch of the new back roads and stuff that we haven't really done.
Yeah, I'm so not jealous. This is negative, but envious of you guys that have this stuff. Like I said, he said earlier, we stayed at TPJ's last night, and then he kind of took us up the mountain to see on our way to Lake Tahoe, and just he knows them all by the back of his hand now. He's been up there and just rides them effortlessly, so fast, and it just I can only imagine how fun that is when you got those in your backyard.
Yeah.
So the main road that goes through Virginia City that takes you back into Reno.
Yeah, Geiger Grade.
Yeah. So when you cross like the highway that goes from like Carson City to fucking Reno, he lives on that road, and if you keep going that road, it just takes you right into like Mount Rose and North Lake Tahoe, I guess is whatever.
Incline Village, I think.
Incline bit. So it's like he lives right off the highway right there, or right off that main road. It's like, fuck, dude, you can go right, and you can go rip some badass roads up to Virginia City,
right,
or hit left and go up to whatchamacallit. Didn't you used to fuck with Von Metal some?
Yeah, Justin.
Yeah.
I still talk to him. He's awesome.
Dude's awesome, man.
He's doing
helped
razors
us.
now.
Is that what he's doing?
Yeah, side by sides.
I was gonna stop by there on the way down the mountain. I just couldn't tell if he was open or not. I saw the shop. He helped us out huge in 2019.
when
we came through.
I remember.
You know what I mean?
I remember that. Yeah, he's got a cool spot because when you go for Virginia City, you just pull up into his parking lot. The bar's right next door.
The bar next door is dope.
The pizza joint is right there. He's actually the one that helped me get my fender and stuff all dialed in on my bike because he had already done it on his bike. Because I was like, I kind of just was like, hey man, you've done all this stuff. Like, can you help me out? And he's like, yeah, bring the bike up. So we took the bike up and got everything dialed in, and he was a tremendous help on just setting stuff up and just an awesome person. Like, people had everything they had to say about him about the Outlaw Baggers, but I mean, dude, you're trying to produce a TV show, and that's what he was trying to do.
Yeah.
And you got to do pretty much what the producers tell you to do. So like they want you to say certain things, they want you to do certain things because they know what's going to sell.
Yeah.
And that's kind of like the stuff that's going on with like Street Outlaws and stuff is the producers, they tell you everything that they want you to do, and they antagonize a bunch of stuff and make, hey, you need to go do this or you need to go do that, which is kind of why I don't know if anybody follows that, but if you do follow, that's kind of why Big Chief left, and he kind of, I think, goes into that a little bit on his deal.
So you said the new place that you're working at now, like you are building cars for some of that Street Outlaw stuff?
Yeah, so I work at a hot rod shop, and we build street rods, hot rods, classics, anything 74 and down, and then we also build drag cars. So we built like no prep cars. So we built a couple. We built a Bodie Jr. Team Bodie Presents. We built his son's Camaro. Money Shot. We did a lot of work on that car and got that thing dialed in so that they can go race and stuff like that. And then Brandon James, who's our local guy, we built his Mustang for him. So he had a white and blue Mustang. They went and raced the whole like fastest in America, the big one that they did a couple years ago, and they won that event. So they won that. Then they wrecked that car. We built them another one. Then that one got wrecked. So now he's driving in the No Prep King series. He's driving our fabricator Dan. He's driving his old Nova. He bought his car from him.
Yeah.
So blown alcohol, Hemi, 4,000 plus horsepower.
What does that feel like?
Sub 4 second, 8th mile at over 200 miles an hour. Like, it's a fast car. So we did that, and we were working on another Mustang for him, and then I think he's going to go do something else. So, but he's racing the No Prep King series. So
that's fucking insane. Sub 4 second on a Nova.
I've seen like 8th mile.
In an 8th mile. So,
yeah.
So I've seen like some sport bikes, like turbo bikes that would get like low fives. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes,
right?
Not very much, and it's been a long time.
That's quarter though.
No, low fives in
8th.
Yeah,
okay.
Because we have a lot of 8th. We have 1/4 mile track in Dallas, but we used to have a bunch of 8th mile tracks everywhere. So we used to all go race that shit back in the day. But like the Gixxers and shit. You get those out there. You can slam them, stretch them, throw a little shot on it, and you got a good rider on it. They can get 5.5s and shit like that on we're talking about a Gixxer 1000 that's
right.
Doing that shit. But a 400-pound bike, right? But to see a car do that,
yeah,
fucking insane.
Yeah,
that's insane.
They make a lot of power real fast.
And it's crazy because like some of the big cars, like I've seen some huge turbo cars, but in an 8th mile, like it's hard to get a turbo to kind of kick in quick enough to.
They got
it figured out.
They've got it all figured out.
Okay.
I mean, you got the anti-lag. You got you're building boost off the line. So
that's true. That's true.
So all your boost is ready to go. So you have your target boost for your launch, and then all of a sudden when it kicks into second gear and that thing is it's gone. Like these cars are moving. They're building boost all the time.
4,000 horsepower cars are the shit that I think of. I think if there's like a intelligent and over species like alien somewhere just watching us for entertainment, when we do stuff like that, they're like, hey, look, they're doing it again, watch this. These guys are crazy.
Yeah.
4,000 plus horsepower, that's fucking insane.
Yeah,
that's got to be a fun job to get like go and see and be a part of all that kind of
it's
madness.
Cool. I don't really go to the races and stuff. I'm just at the shop and
making
making sure that these guys have all the stuff that they need, so build these cars.
That's dope.
You been into cars your whole life?
Pretty much from like teenage years on. Once I got into doing car stuff, that's all I've ever really done is car stuff, and I do some bike stuff. I don't know. I like bike stuff now, so like I'm more into the bikes than I am into the cars.
Yeah.
So it kind of works out for me because I'm not worried about bikes all day. Like it's all take care of all the car stuff, get all that stuff done, and then
go have fun on bikes.
Then I go have fun on bikes or whatever I do with the bike stuff. So.
Yeah, it's a good balance because I mean, working on bikes and being ingrained in the bike industry all day long, it grinds. It grinds you.
Yeah.
And it hasn't for me, but doing this podcast for the years we have now, that's one of the things that we've seen so much in so many like veterans of doing this stuff, like shops and whatnot.
Right.
They just get beat down. They
get burnt out because they never get to go ride the bikes. They're always working or building somebody else's bike, and it's like, oh, cool, I'm going to go take my bike out this weekend. And then you get a customer that comes up, and they're probably like, well, you shouldn't be riding your bike if I don't have mine. Why isn't my bike done? And then you kind of feel bad, and you're like, well, shit, what do I do? And at some point, you guys got to, you got to choose your battles, and
What's the saying? I just go fuck myself then.
Yeah. Right. Well, fuck me, right? I don't need to go ride. I don't need to put any miles on. I don't need to de-stress. Don't worry. I'll be here on Sunday working on your bike.
I'll be great.
Yeah.
Can't wait.
I'm fine. Yeah.
I'm fine. I just picture that old white guy with this like crying, but he's got smiling in the meme, sitting at the computer. I'm fine. His just eyes are just about to cry, but
just holding this coffee. Like,
everything's okay.
Everything's good. I do it now. Yeah.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, it's a good balance because I don't know. I like.
It sounds like the best of both worlds: a former passion that you still love.
Yeah.
That hopefully didn't get burnt out on it, but you get to do that, so you truly enjoy what you do. But yet you've got this other passion that, while you're doing this, you can daydream about this, and it's not like you're not shitting on a garbage man, but it's not like you're doing something you just mind like what I do, where you're just like, I could go a fuck less about it. It's just a paycheck.
Right.
I'd rather be doing all this if I could.
Yeah.
The fact that you get to kind of blend them is awesome.
I mean, I do some stuff in the bike scene, kind of behind the scenes stuff, and so I mean that's okay. Like I like doing that, and working with different companies, meeting a bunch of people and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Cars have always been just a big thing for me, so You know, it's just hard to tear away from that and go do.
It's good money in cars.
Stuff.
Everybody has them. Everybody wants them.
Yeah,
everybody likes them.
And we're kind of in a niche market too, because it's like, I mean, we're building $200,000 race cars. We're building $300,000 show cars.
Yeah.
Like, and we're the premier shop in our area. So, you know, there's a lot of good shops out there, but like we're the main shop, and we have a huge like sales area. So like I'm like a parts manager. So I have a huge showroom, so all the other shops come to me to buy their parts and stuff like that. Or not everything, but you know, they come to me for a lot of stuff because I'm the local guy that has all that stuff.
Connections.
You know, and which is cool because, you know, then I get to take care of all these guys and see what they're, you know, talk to them, or what are you guys building, or what are you doing, and you know, I kind of have a hand in like, you know, a lot of these cars that are getting built, even if they're not at our shop. You know, I supplied parts, or I got parts for other cars. So you go to a car show in our area, and there's 300 cars there. If they were worked on in, you know, any number of these shops that are in our area, there's a good chance that I had something to do with it.
Would you think that like some, you know, this might be a huge hypothetical, but like, do they come in like excited about the things that they're buying from you to put on their cars? Like it's a fun thing to buy. Yeah. So like, does that energy or enthusiasm or happiness ever rub out? Like, because I feel like if you're selling something to someone that they are stoked to do and buy, that like their enthusiasm would rub off on you and make you feel stoked about doing it.
I love helping people no matter what. Like, you know, just being able to help somebody or take care of somebody or get something done. Like Brandon called me yesterday and was like, hey man, I need these bushings. I can't find them anywhere, and I need them in Brainerd, Minnesota tomorrow. Yeah. Okay. Hold my beer. 20 minutes later, they're on their way, man. They'll be there tomorrow. You got them today. Nice. So, you know, like just being able to do stuff like that and find stuff that people can't find or they can't do. Like, to me, that's the ultimate, is like, that's my euphoria, is that's being able to find something or get something that nobody else has. You know, he calls me and says, hey, I need this. I need a regulator that'll go to 200 PSI for a CO2 tank. They don't make it. Yeah. Like, it's not available. You can get to 150 PSI. That's it. He needed to go to 200 for something he was doing. I didn't ask too many questions. Okay, hold my beer. Where do you need it shipped? It'll be there tomorrow. I found one. I talked to a guy, had one built. Yeah. And shipped to him in 24 hours. Wow. So like, he had it the next day so they can go make a race. Like, to me, that's cool. You know, being able to like figure stuff out. That type of just having a hand in, like, you didn't miss the race because I said I couldn't find something because I don't, you know, I didn't slack off and, oh, it's not available, or, oh, sorry, man, no can do. This is the best we can do. Yeah, like, you're not the typical Harley parts guy that's like, nobody has them around here. It's like, well, who has it? Where? Can you get it shipped to me? I deal with that, like, you know, on a daily when I'm trying to buy something. Like, well, who has it? Like, we were trying to find some part that nobody had and was an obsolete. Like, give me the list of dealers that have it. I call some guy up in somewhere in Nevada. I don't even know where the hell, what city I call him. Like, hey, do you guys have this part? It shows you have it in stock. No, we don't have it. I'm like, are you sure? You might want to take a little harder look. Put your hands on it. Yeah, dude. Like, go walk around for a little bit. It'll pop up. And he didn't materialize anything. But I was able to get one from another guy, Miyagi, out of Vegas. Miyagi. Yeah, he had it. He's like, oh, I have that part you need. I'm like, really? How much you want for it? He's like, I don't know, whatever it was, super cheap. I'm like, done. Send it. Yeah. Got it in like 2 days. Didn't use it yet, but it's okay.
Evic Sard Miyagi, the Go Hard or Go Home guys?
Yeah.
Good dude.
That guy, dude. Yeah, he hit me up. He's like, hey, I have that part. Send me a picture. Mm-hmm. Cool. What do you want for it, man? Okay, cool. Done. It's at my house in a couple days. I know that I've talked about this before, and I think it was remember me and you both did that story once about like, fuck that dealership in town? Yeah. So I went to this one dealership. It's the closest one to my shop to get some clutch stuff for my bagger. I wanted a new Screaming Eagle clutch kit, and I wanted to jump up from the set of springs I have to the next tension up higher. And this dealership had the springs but didn't have the clutches, but this place had the clutches. So I'm like, okay, cool. I'll just run up there and get the clutches, and then, you know, if they don't have the springs up there, then I'll come back and get the springs and whatnot. Right. So I go up there and I walk in. I go to the parts department. I'm like, hey man, you know, can you look these up right quick? I want to see if you have the whole kit, because they sell as a kit or separate. And he goes, we don't have the kit. I'm like, all right, cool. Well, can you just get me the clutches, not the kit? And he goes, we don't have it. I was like, well, the other dealership said you did. And he goes, and he looks at me with this fucking like, I'm an idiot thing. Like,
how do they know what we have? I'm like, well, you have a computer system
Right.
of inventory throughout all of the Harley Davidson dealerships.
Right.
And he's like, dude, we don't have them. And I'm just standing here like, it's on a Saturday too, so it's, you know, not like something I want to go running around town trying to figure out. Right. You know, we got like 9 dealerships in Dallas Fort Worth. And I was just pissed at this fucking dude and his just cuntiness, right?
Yeah.
I knew a dude in service, so I walked around to the service department and said, hey man, this dude's being a fucking dick over here. Can you pull this part for me? He walks back there, puts his hands on it, bam, brings it out, done. And then I think it was either the day later or maybe that next Tuesday we were at bike night and you were telling me because you had went up there to try to like finance a new bike and they gave you some stupid ass fucking number that was outrageous.
Well, no, it wasn't. Yeah, I didn't go to finance. It was the day we rode the Pan Ams, and then so we've been riding all day up early that morning, and I test rode like 5 or 6 bikes at a couple different dealerships, and it was just one of those. The guy at the end of the day, we were tired. I wanted to eat. He just would not let it go. About let's run some numbers. And man, he confused me on something he said, and I just kind of was like, what? And then, like you said, he just acted like a cunt. Where fuck me, right? Like I'm the customer. Like if I was gonna buy a bike today, which I wasn't, I definitely wouldn't do it with you now because just
right.
the way they handled it, like the worst sales guy at Harley I've ever fucking met ever.
Yeah.
So like I said, or like to bring this
from selling cars.
Probably so,
100%. But to bring it full circle, it's like I you know, having somebody that's enthusiastic about helping you solve a problem in the parts department is so valuable to a shop like mine, and I know hundreds of people that you probably deal with every day.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I don't like the word no.
Yeah,
like I don't like to tell somebody no. Like that's like to me that's the ultimate like
laziness.
Yeah, or just like no, you know, like it's the laziness. So like if somebody needs something, all right, well let me see what I can do.
Yeah,
like before you leave my store, I'm going to go look. I'm going to try.
Yeah.
I'm going to make an effort. If I know 100% before you even ask for it, because I've already looked for it, then I'm like, it just doesn't happen. You know, it's not going to happen, doesn't exist. Or I have a better answer for you. Like, oh, you know what? Those aren't available right now. So this is how long it takes, or you can use this. I like figure out a go around. If you're too lazy to figure out a go around or another way or find it, then you shouldn't probably be doing whatever the hell you're doing. Just go do something else, you know? So like, you know, I get people come in and like, oh, well, we need this or I need that. I'm like, okay, I don't know, man. Let me go look. And I'll go in the back, and I found so much random stuff. Like my guy came to me yesterday or the day before. He's like, hey, I need these Art Morrison pass-through -6 steels, da-da-da-da. And I look him up. He gives me a part number because he already looked it up.
Yeah.
So I pull it up on the computer. I'm like, shit, well, we have the number in here, but we don't have any.
Uh-huh.
So I was like, that seems weird because I swear I seen these in the back. So before I called to order them, I was like, let me go look.
Yeah.
So I go look in the back. There's 5 of them sitting in a box. 0 in inventory, 5 on the shelf.
Yeah.
You know, one of the like similar situation like so I was like, I go back there, grab the box, walk it up to him like, you looking for these? He's like, you're the fucking man. I'm like, I know. I always say no because like, I don't.
Beer bag
I want to
now.
be the man. You know, like you want to be the man, but I'm like humble about it. Like, cool. Like I'm not the man. I'm just the guy that found it. Like here you go. You know what I mean? Like I just put in a little bit of extra effort. Like
does it make you want to say I'm not the man? I didn't just manufacture these back there. I just fucking looked for them. Look in the box.
No, it's like
if not, then you're a more patient dude than I am.
I work with some pretty badass dudes.
Yeah.
These guys are really really good at what they do.
Uh-huh.
Chassis fabrication, building, wiring, electrical, like all this stuff. These guys are like the best. They're premier. So like they're badasses. To me, they're badasses. Like what they do, like I can't fabricate. Like you know these guys can do. I can't weld like they can do. I can't wire. So like to me, they're badass dudes. So like if I can do something to help them out, then like to me that's the ultimate. So like you know my one guy is always like he's like you're the man. I'm like no I'm not, man. I got lucky, right? Like and he's like. That's not what you're supposed to say. You're supposed to say yeah. And so like now that's me. Like now when he's like he's like you're the man. I go, I know, you know. And it's not. I'm not cocky. I just did my job.
You just want to be like professional at what you're doing, the way everybody else that works there is professional at what they do.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like you want to do your job to the best possible ability. That's what I'm saying. Like it's a lot more rare than it seems because I can't tell you how many dealerships I've been in my life just on the road or just in general. And dudes are just like, they don't care. They don't know. Like, I feel like if you're in the parts department, there's all these books, there's all these catalogs, all these products that you should know.
Right.
Maybe not.
Or be learning.
Or be learning, or just be familiar with. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like, when someone comes in and asks for something, like, oh, yeah. You should have, like, some kind of point of reference. Okay, Ness, which air cleaner were you looking for?
Right.
And then bam, like, instead of like, oh, Ness sells air cleaners? I didn't even know that. You know what I mean?
Right.
Or how about a protocol if you don't know to find out, whether it's let me get back to you
just
or whatever.
Put a little effort. Put a little effort.
Yeah, exactly.
Put a little effort into finding out. You know, you don't have to know everything. I don't know everything about cars. Sure. I don't know everything about all the stuff that we do, but I'm sure as hell find out, and I'm gonna get you a better answer. You know, we need stuff fast. Like, everybody's had a hard time getting everything. You know, with everything that's been going on. So, for me to be able to find something that somebody else couldn't find, or it's hard to get. Like, you know, that's it. That's the
job.
That's my deal.
So what's up? Have you wanted to look at getting into any of the newer bikes, like the M8 stuff, any of that type of stuff, or are you?
It's just my whole thing with the bike thing is it's a hobby to me.
Yeah.
I mean, I love it. I have a serious passion for it. But if I can't pay cash for it, I don't have it.
Exactly.
You know, it's taken me. I've had my bike since 2016. I think the end of this month will be 6 years. It's taken 6 years to get where it's at. You know, the level. Guys build these bikes in 6 weeks, 6 months, whatever it is. You know, I live in California, man. I own a house. Like, you know, I legit work 3 jobs, and I work 6 to 7 days a week.
Yeah. You
know, like, I literally have to take time off of work to go to, like, an event. Like, and then at that point I feel like, man, I'm just shirking responsibility. I've had a job since I was 13. I've worked for 30 years. I'm 43 years old. Yeah. So, like, I've worked my whole life. So, to have whatever I needed, because, single parent home and stuff like that. I mean, my mom and dad were around, but they weren't together. So I lived with one or the other. So if I wanted something, I had to go work. I had to, make money. So I had paper route. And then I didn't make enough money with 1 paper route. So I got 2 paper routes. So now I ran 2 paper routes. So now I'm making, like, I'm 13 years old. I'm making like $600 a month. So, like, I always had cash, right? So I'm like, all right, cool. This is what I need to do. And then I had kids at an early age. So, like, I had, fresh out of high school. I think when I was in junior year of high school, I worked 40 hours a week. I went to school for 24 hours a week. Because I was able to, so I was able to go to school and work. So then I worked, and then I had my first kid when I was senior in high school, and then the second kid, like, right out of senior year, like, after graduation, December that year. So I had kids early. So, like, I just worked. I had 2 or 3 jobs. So to me, it's like, I feel like that in Living Color skit, hey, man, got to go to work. The Jamaican people and shit. Like, that's just always what I've done. So I work, but I work to do what I want to do. So, yeah, I mean, get back to what you're talking about. Yeah, I mean, I would love to have a brand new bike, but I'm not going to spend $600-800 a month on a bike payment. Because then you're like $600-800 on a bike payment. Now you want to spend $600-800 a month on buying parts or more. And you're like, well, I got to pick or choose this month, and I don't think the Moco's going to want me to put these parts on their bike if they're going to repo it next week, right? Yeah. It ain't adding value to anything. So
that makes sense, man.
That's just kind of where I'm at with it. Like, I tried to get my wife into a brand new ST because her bike was down. I'm like, hey, let's go. Look, they got the STs coming out. And then we went over, and she test rode a Lowrider S, and she's like, dude, that bike's fast. It's got like a 117 in it or something like that. Yeah. She's like, I was doing like 95, and I had another gear to go. Because she's not used to a 6-speed, so she's like, she's 5 gears and she's good. She's like, dude, I got down the road and I was doing like 95, and she's like, I still have another gear to go. She's like, that bike gets up way too fast. I'm like, well, when you get your new bike, your motor put together, you're gonna see that's what it is. Yeah. So I've got her 6-speed. Actually, a 6-speed just showed up at my house today for her. Oh, nice. So I had 2 of them. So I got to put a 6-speed back in. We put one in and kind of like hybrided a 6-speed in. It's Screaming Eagle gears, but it's for like an early Evo. So I had to get the different primary and stuff. And then we ran into issue with the jack shaft being I think a 1/4 inch larger. It's like 1.5 inches instead of 1 3/8. So then I couldn't get the starter to work. So I was like, all right, well, I don't know what to do. I was like, all right, cool, we're gonna throw a 5-speed back in, but the primary's got to come out. She's like, okay. So I was at work. She ripped the whole primary out of the bike, put it back in. She's like, all right, damn. She's like, all right, we're good to go. I'm like, all right, cool, fire it up. Does it work? Yep. All right, sounds good.
God damn, got a mechanic wife?
Hell yeah.
Yeah, but, with her fancy nails and all that shit. Yeah, she's just not scared. She just wants to go ride. Like that's her passion.
That's awesome.
That's her passion too. She hit me up at like 11 o'clock in the morning. She's like, so I got the whole primary part and blah 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 blah. And I'm like, all I was gonna ask you to do was just drain the fluid so I could take it apart when I got home tonight. But okay, took it all apart herself, put it all back together. She's like, all right, is it good? I'm like, sure, why not? Let's go.
Nice. That's dope, man.
No issues. But I tried to get her a lowrider S or an ST, and she's like, I'm not paying $600 a month for a bike. I'm not paying $800 a month for a bike plus insurance.
Yeah,
and then we have cars and all our shit's insured, whether we drive it or not. It's insured.
Yeah,
year round. We don't take insurance off the bikes because it's winter time because we never know when we're gonna go ride.
Yeah, for sure.
We'll ride in December. We'll ride on Christmas Day. So.
Did you teach her as far as her mechanical confidence and ability? Is that something she had as a child or from her upbringing?
I think just growing up, yeah. I mean, her dad's always been a car
she
guy,
wasn't
boat
like,
guy. So
yeah.
When you met her and y'all got together, she wasn't like, "What's a wrench?"
No,
she already knew what was up.
Yeah, she's awesome. Pretty mechanically inclined. She knows what she's doing. She's better at a lot of things than I am.
That's awesome.
So she's not scared. That's I think the biggest thing with her is she's just not scared. She's not scared to ride. She's not scared to hit corners. She's not scared to do anything. Just
pushes herself.
Yeah, she'll just,
That's dope, man.
She'll just let it.
What's her Instagram?
Mom Glide.
Mom Glide.
I think it's linked on it.
Mom Glide 13.
Nice.
Yeah.
If not, scroll down. There's you'll see a picture of her, and I saw her.
Yeah.
So y'all are gonna be at Born Free, right?
Yeah.
Nice. Well, these podcasts they won't come out till the end of this month until I get home and everything to put them out. But yeah, so after Born Free, are y'all planning anything else on the books for like events for the rest of the year that you can think of? Other than Four Corners?
Just Four Corners, and then I don't know, whatever else local. We might hit Virginia City for the Street Vibes or something like that. But
yeah.
Nothing really planned out, just because I don't know. We haven't really looked at a calendar and to see what all was going on. We just know the staple events that we always go to.
Yeah.
One Moto, Live Fast Rally, Born Free, Four Corners. Those are like the big ones, and we'll probably hit like Corbin and whatever else is like
local stuff.
But there really isn't a whole. I think other than that, there really isn't much else going on.
Well, that's still a pretty stacked schedule. I mean, and spread out throughout the year too.
Yeah.
And every like 2 months or so, you have another event kind of going on.
Yeah.
So that's dope.
I mean, we like it when it's every week or every other week or something like that. You know what I mean?
Something to do.
We book early, so like if we know we're gonna go to certain events, we'll book them. A year out. Oh, FXR Jam. We'll be there. At
Topaz.
Yeah.
That's dope.
We do that. We've done that the last couple of years. So we take Sonora Pass and go over, and
it's a fun time there. I haven't been yet.
We took over.
We took Sonora. Yeah, we did that.
It's beautiful. It was awesome.
Fucking awesome.
Yeah, Sonora Pass kind of drops down right into not too far from where I live. So.
Oh, all right. You're up
if you go.
Yeah.
What's it like Walt? No, it's not Walnut Creek. It's.
I live down. Well, we live down by Merced.
Yeah.
So you can cut over 59. You can take.
Yeah, once you come off the pass, it fingers out where it goes in different directions.
You take 108 up.
You
take 108 all the way over Sonora Pass, and then drop down, and then come into 132 or 395.
Yeah,
395. So we hit the 395, and then you just head north, and then you're
there.
Right there at Topaz. Yeah.
Well, cool, dude. I appreciate you doing this short notice. I hit you up this morning whenever we jumped on the bikes in Reno. I was like, fuck, man. But I appreciate it. I've been wanting to have you on the podcast for a while, man. It's just, I like doing them like this. I don't like doing phone ones. You know what I mean?
It's cool. Yeah, I appreciate you hitting me up. I was just like, man, I thought he didn't even know who I was, Like,
oh, fuck
I mean, I know you know who I am, right? But I'm like,
yeah,
man, we haven't talked in like a while because you're doing one thing on your end and I'm just over here. And then I kind of just, I don't know, I've just been kind of laying low a little bit, and not really doing a whole lot. Like my social media has been kind of, dead. And
I understand that. It's just, for me, like, especially after doing this podcast, I mean, you're technically going to be like episode 2, almost 270. So it's like, not that it's 270 different people, but it's like over the years, just continuing to meet and do podcasts. And then, you're trying to do brands and individuals and this and that. And then, when you come up to NorCal, it's like you want to hit these brands, but then there's also individuals like yourself that's been kind of helped building the scene up as well. And it's easy in Dallas to capture all the guys in the world that are doing like the brands and the scene kind of creators, if you will. But, every fucking part of the country has all of that. So it's like getting to the point where you can connect with everybody. You know what I mean? It's
You
hard.
can find the rad dudes like yourself in different parts of the country.
Right.
Is what he's getting at.
And so it's just, I don't know, it's tough. And then it's like, sometimes, you know, I'll know, okay, this guy's here, this guy's here, this guy's there. And then if I don't see a social media post for a while, I forget about it. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah.
And then it's like, you're here, or then you leave this area, you're like, fuck, I forgot that dude was up there.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's tough, man.
It's all right. I probably didn't have much to say back then anyway. So.
No, but I mean, like, but no, I appreciate it, man.
No, just, you know, as things go on and they progress, you know, and you just
Yeah.
get better and better. So, yeah.
Well, hell yeah. Well, thanks for doing it, man. Once again, like I said, we just knocked out 2 hours, so
Oh, yeah.
I know you got to get to work in the morning, and you know, got to
Yeah.
drive. So I appreciate it. Thanks,
Right on.
Vic, and
Appreciate you.
Mod
Thank you.
Glide
Mod Glide 07.
07,
Yeah.
and then check out the wife at wife.
Mom Glide
Mom
07.
Glide.
Mom Glide 13.
There you go. All right, bud. Thanks. I appreciate it.
Right on.
Yeah.
Y'all want to thank Vic for coming out last minute. He had quite a bit of drive for him to get up to where we were at in the NorCal area. But I want to say thank you again, and glad to finally have you on the podcast, my man. If you guys like these podcasts and you want to help support it, please go to our Patreon and check it out. There's a link in the description where you're listening to this podcast. You click that link, it takes you to it. And if you want to get on board with what we got going on, there's plenty of options there to support this show and get unreleased podcast through there. There's an app for Patreon, so you can listen to music or the podcast we put out with your phone turned off. You don't have to leave it on. It's a great app. You can get it, and we're trying to build that community there and offer more things for them. So yeah, I got more podcasts to release today. This is number 2 for today. We got one more to drop before we get into July. So got a lot of great shows for you guys from this trip. Once again, thank you to thundermax for helping set all this stuff up for us. And I forgot to do this on the last podcast, but I got to give a shout out to my man Jaden, aka Dragon. He is a part of all these podcasts that we're putting out on this road trip. He stuck it out with me and did the full month, and I'm couldn't be more thankful to spend that with him and hang out with the homie. So thank you guys, and we'll see you on the next episode, which is Kirk Taylor. Can't wait. Let's go. Peace. Bye. See you later, guys.